the regular IPO would, where it goes 10, 15%. You're looking for a much, much smaller move. But there's opportunities regardless. It just depends on your style. You're not taking 10 or 20,000 shares of a regular IPO because liquidity is a concern. There's no trader that I know that has a limit to liquidity on this because there's just a ton of it on this SPAC. So you have to think a little bit differently if you're trading one of these relative to a traditional IPO, let's just say. It is midday time. We'll be back at 2. Hopefully the beef is good. But we'll be
the wife just asked me what's for dinner. I just said don't do beef.
Not beef, yeah.
Yeah, because anything else, I just put that there.
It's football tonight.
In the chat. Yeah, it's Ravens, Dolphins.
That's going to be a very bad game.
I think it could be a good game.
Lamar's coming back.
They didn't look good with Lamar.
Miami?
Miami never looks good.
I think Miami's going to have a problem.
But
I think that's going to be a problem.
All right. Yeah, it's 11:01. All right, good day today.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep halfway through that game.
Yeah, probably. We're happy here today. Beef tilapia, yeah, next on board. All right, thanks everybody. I'm warm in this, man. I got a sweater and the hoodie and the jersey on. But a boogie with a hoodie, and we'll send it over to the midday show. Ciao for now.
Boom, boom, boom. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy, Joey Options, and I am Sharif. And it's already a morning here, Joey. So let's get right down to it. Okay, so I got a couple of trades on. Let's just get right down to where, we got to do the shout out. What am I doing here, Joey? I'm not doing my job. All right, guys, Healing Wholeness. We got Frank Ace, Mike, D-Rider. We got Joao. We got Scott Wheeler and Wick Slap You. Shout out to Ronaldo and Eduardo. Hack You as well. Jake Roberts, Snake, Mr. Englewood, 77. Alex, HC Low. Who else, man? We got Bastone. Hello, Sharif and Joe. We got Anurag, the OG Darwin, already calling out DOCU, DOCU. Hangry Wife. We got One Life to Live Together. We got Sloth. We got Tister. Crypto's in the house. Dean Allen. Shout out to Andrew Chow and Donkey Trader Amoy. Who else, man? We got Shack Attack, Brown Lightning, Crypto C, Ian Gardner, 420 Bud Monster from Derek Thompson as well. Poor Robin Hood. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning. Good morning. It's always good morning. It's a day away. I was thinking about. Sorry, brother. Let's adjust this a little bit here. All right, guys. Yeah, let's break down what we were trading here today. We're going for a little bit of a move in rope. Yeah, better. Back to Adara. All right, let's go, Adara.
Here's the news here at DocuSign. DOCU just announced they're going to be bringing their contract AI to ChatGPT. So DOCU and ChatGPT tie-up just announced, hence why DOCU is moving to the upside. DocuSign, back to you.
Thank you, Darwin, for calling that out. Always the OG Darwin doing the absolute most in the chat. Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, let's break down. I mean, yesterday we were hot. Today, not so much. Roblox give us a little bit of a chop up there. That one didn't work out. That's all right. Microsoft is where we took this big hit earlier in the morning. I seen that it was going to break down, but I was just too early. I go to enter. It's like cancel order. Anyways, enough with the excuses. We get stopped out at the break of VWAP, and then eventually it makes that $4 flush that we were looking for, and then we take a little long right there. But this was a big-time hit considering I made 10% of what I lost here, so that's not a good risk to reward ratio. Now, is it? What else were we taking a look at? Tesla, a couple attempts here as well on the session, that long. We got stopped out at the break of these lows, and the exact same thing here with the break of the volume weighted average price. And now, yeah, you know, guys, what I'm probably most likely involved in. Let's see if we can get this move. I'm going to try to hold this to 62. If I don't get that, then it's not going to be too good. It's not going to be a good time. We know who has tropical blood. Look at the vest. Prayers for Jamaica. Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out to everyone over there. I told them it's nothing new to them. They're used to that stuff. Obviously, it's a bad storm, but there's ways that they can mitigate it. Hopefully, everyone's safe, and we wish all the best for all the individuals who have been affected by it. But nonetheless, guys, let's talk about what we got going on from a trade standpoint. Market to the downside. If we look at the Qs and the SPY, not so pretty now, is it? the SPY significantly more choppy, so a lot of overlapping candles, and we're just moving eastward at this point. Some downward trajectory on the Qs, which isn't horrible, but consistently forming these lower highs. Keep an eye out on that. Neil likes the trend break. If it does sit on top of that, maybe you'll get a little bit of a relief rally, but it's Thursday, guys, so keep in mind, it may not come. After earnings, we had some hot earnings reports, and unfortunately, Google, no continuation on today's session. I was looking at that as one of my primary names, but that aggressive selling out of the gate, no good. Then we take the attempts on Microsoft. I wasn't paying attention to Meta because it's too expensive for my liking. So aside from that, and the exact same thing here with NVDA. Lots of sideways price action. Wait for those trend lines to snap. If they do, I think that's going to give you a good entry there.
All right, sounds good, Joey. Let's get to the small cap gappers. Look, I've got some on today, not too many, 6, not 8. So the last 2 on your right are holdovers from yesterday, and kind of disregard them. What I'll do is I won't throw in the tickers for those, so you'll know that, you know, those ones are no good. Let me just throw in the ticker here for W key. So I'm involved in that one right now. It's kind of holding the volume weighted average price, has had general support at VWAP. It is spready on the day. And this topping till candle right here, the one that 1055, got me a whole bunch of prints into the $0.50. But look at what it's doing since that topping till candle. Basically nothing, and if I really had to guess, it does feel like it might make its way back down to VWAP. W key has been running for multiple days. This has been showing up on my scanner several times. Had a bit of an off day yesterday, despite the fact that it held the prior day's lows. It had certainly a much better day on Tuesday, but we'll see if this one has anything to offer us today. Involved right now in MSAI, where we long 34 as we just went the beak there at 37. I'm looking for continuation, possibly back into the $0.50. There's 38. It needs to cross 38. There we go. Crosses, we get the print. Let's look for continuation into 50. That's what I'm looking for there on MSAI. Small cap gapper, not a big 36 and change. We're definitely going to keep an eye out on that. But I want to bring your attention to EBS. So as soon as I switched to this one on my trading screen to come to punch in, you know, we had to go live on the show, but then the breakout came. So I felt a little bit silly. Anyway, this one's hugging VWAP quite well here at 2 1/5, 2 1/4, give or take. It has a bit of a range. I want to say 70 pennies generally to the high side, about 20 pennies to the low side. It is, upon further, inspection and analysis, putting in higher lows, despite the fact that we've generally had that same area top at around 70. So I expect continuation here, and my move on this one will be dips into the volume weighted average price, currently showing me 12 1/5. So that's going to be my move. On that one, I had an ill-fated trade on DGXX. I tried to get in here on the pullback into the 10 EMA. It did wick below the 10 EMA, and I had my stop below the 10 EMA. So I'm sure you guys can figure out what happened there. Got stopped out. Anyway, what I'm going to wait for here on DGXX is the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. I need a trend change. I don't want to guess it's going to hold at the 10 EMA because it didn't give that to me last time. So that's going to be my move there. Waiting for a move on MSAI and or W key. Those are my oh, sorry, I had a couple of more to talk about there. I'll get those in 1 second, Assassino. Just give me a minute. PRM as well. This one very directional. Only one touch into the 10 EMA. That happened at 1025. Otherwise, you haven't had any pullbacks into the 10 exponential. On the 5 with a 2761 high, it's up almost 30%. Last but not least, and a good one here possibly at the moment because it's pulled into VWAP, is VIAV. Throwing on the ticker for you guys right now. VIAV up 19.17%, 1714 high, dipping into VWAP right now, which is showing me 1655. Alas, this is a dual area here in my opinion. Why? It's price action resistance from the initial implied balance open at 930, and it also happens to be, yes, the volume weighted average price. So let's see if this one wants to hold up here or what its look is going to be, Joey. I'm interested in either way, just has to set up the right way.
All right, guys. Yeah, so just the harsh reality of the situation trading. Got shut down, man. That's it. So
punch into the sim, man.
I'm in on the sim right now. So yeah, we'll see if we can catch anything. Other than that, guys, maybe do a little Q&A if you guys have any specific questions for me or anything along those lines. You want to go over some option stuff. I got all day now, so that's it, 11 o'clock, and we'll figure other things out.
Here it is. Let's
yeah,
do
go
this
ahead,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, because Assassino keeps putting up. Kanye East, my man, I haven't seen you in a hot minute. Where you been? Shout out to my man Kanye East. Neil mentioned Ron Paul and see how chat sends it. One of the greatest Americans and humans ever. God bless Dr. Paul. He should have been president. Hey, man, the people decide who's president, but I do remember Ron Paul. I know his son, obviously, as well, in the Senate. And God bless everybody, bro. What do you got, Joey?
Just talking to, yeah, I know I can't. There's no physically bouncing back for today anyways, and there's always another day. There's always tomorrow, right? So, but today there is that is not in the works whatsoever. But on the bright side, right? Because that's what we are, Mr. Brightside. Shout out to, oh, who sings that? Mr. Brightside. Is it Maroon? It's not Maroon. Is it The Killers, right? Okay, The Killers. So shout out to Mr. Brightside on that. We created our call calendar spread. I collected approximately $356 on the November 14th, 69 calls on IBIT. So shout out to them. Those are working. All right, we'll take that all day. And I mean, it's only a couple of weeks from now. We've already collected more than 50% of the premium. As soon as I get to 75 and Bitcoin isn't recovering, I'm going to close that out and then find some new contracts to roll over to. And that's going to be at a lower strike price, most likely. I'm thinking I go back to exactly where my long calls are, so we can get that one-to-one. If it does come back, then that's not good, right? Like, because you're not going to collect nearly as much premium as how much you paid. That's just the nature of trading, of selling options. No matter what it is, you will never collect as much premium as much as the actual appreciation of the underlying can account for within that specific contract. That's just how it is. They wouldn't make it that. That'd be too easy because then everybody would write options at the end of the day. So, so excuse me. So once those are closed, let's pull this up here. So I wrote the 69s. Those are slowly dwindling. Yeah, shout out to them. I picked them up for just, I think, like it was like 57, 60 bucks. They're now half that value. We're collected half of that. So once that happens, then you know what? I'll go over to November 22nd. Once I've closed that position, head over to like the 66s or the 67s, and then we'll collect. We'll do that. We'll rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat until either it's like, okay, I can't hold on to Bitcoin anymore, or it starts working out, and then I can lift that hedging aspect of those contracts and allow those 6 long calls to just free roam, essentially, Sharif. So that's what I'm game planning.
Sorry, just give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. I see why you hate Bitcoin. It's not performing well whatsoever. Are you seeing BTC sub 100 first or 130K first? No, I'm gonna say sub. And that's the most difficult thing. This isn't good here, right? So I've been obviously doing some TA. I wake up in the early hours of the morning to see how the price action is. And I mean, if I wake up at 4 in the morning to go to the washroom or something along the lines, of course I'm gonna be opening up the app to see what's going on. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row to the top side. I think this was a little bit of a bull trap, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, I was buying up here and I averaged into about here, but now you're starting to head significantly lower. This is going to be another key support level around that 107. If it snaps, watch out. This wasn't enough of a liquidity grab to absorb. So, I mean, it's just the nature of the beast on this thing. You have to be extremely, extremely patient. It's consolidation, leg up, consolidation, leg up. And after this consolidation, we're not getting that leg up just yet. So let's see if we're going to get that move into the lower 100s, even high 90s. That might be the case.
Look, I don't really talk about the mega caps when it comes to trading, but I executed some positions today in the morning on my personal account. So let's get right down to it. So Meta, if you've been watching the show a while, you know that I was involved in Meta during the tough times for this name when it was trading at $88. We picked it up at 133 and we held it for a little bit. Now, this is going to be the first time I get into Meta since that time. I picked up a little bit today. I'm going to be picking up incremental amounts. I'm not one to punch into my full position right away because you don't really know if you're going to catch the bottom. This is the chart on Meta. So let's do some TA. on the shorter term time frame, and then we'll do a little bit more of a longer term time frame analysis. So we'll start with the 4 hour so we can get an idea of where the local areas of support and resistance are. So we have a 650 low, almost on the dot, 650.17. Is that important other than for psychological support and resistance? Offhand, it doesn't really seem like it is. There is some interactions with it here back in May, but not an area where I see glaring support. So 650 to me is a soft level of support because it doesn't have price action support, just psychological. So I'm picking up some here. Now, where are we on the daily? Well, we're below the 200 exponential on the daily for now, right? And let's see where the simple is as well. Let me throw on the simple, because sometimes they intersect, sometimes not so much. Simple moving average, Joey, we're gonna put it in, we're gonna put the 200, and we're gonna change that color as well, because I don't like that. No, they're overlapping at the moment. So the the 200 EMA and the 200 simple are overlapping, which is fine. What I wanna see is, do we get bought up, you know, today, tomorrow, Monday, to reclaim that 200, you know, within three trading days? Let's see if we're actually below by 3%. So current price action. So I have a different rule here. If you are looking to get in off a technical area, like a moving average, volume weighted average, typically the moving average, I don't really consider the technical area breached unless one of the two following happens. It closes 3 straight trading days below that moving average, or it breaches it by 3%. Take your pick. You can choose one or the other. Those are not my rules, by the way. Those are John J. Murphy's. So what I'd like to see is us get bought up aggressively to get a lot closer to the moving average, either today, tomorrow, or Monday. So that's what I'm going to be thinking. If we continue to bleed down on Meta, well, then we really don't have much in the way of price action support that we can you know, really rely on. Let's take off some of these pivot points over here so we can see this a little bit clearer. There we go. So where are we looking? We're looking at like 630 to 640. Take a look at these areas of resistance back in November of 24, right before the election. That's the election pump right there. Then that's the dump into April, right? So that 625, 630 area definitely looks interesting to me. But again, that's all predicated upon, you know, the 200, losing the 200 on a 3% or a 3-day rule. We'll have to wait and see. So I like Meta. I didn't really see too much wrong with the report other than that one-off line. But hey, the market's going to trade this as the way it's going to trade it, and people are going to make money on the short, whether it's for a long time or a short time. We'll have to wait and see. But Meta definitely in focus for me. Now, I know some people were talking about picking up Microsoft. I don't think Microsoft gave us as much of a discount as Meta, but Meta tends to be more beta anyway, right? I mean, we all saw what happened to Meta in 2022. And if you didn't, let me remind you, this is what happened over here. So we were trading, we're doing our thing, 21, 25, right into 385. That was all-time highs at the time. And then we dropped 76%. 76% on Meta. You know what I mean, Joey? Like, look at this.
Yeah, I'll take that all day.
389, almost 400. We dropped November of 22. We made the bottom. So Meta's got, you know, this inclination to be super high beta, and I'm okay with that because, oh, and look at this, Joey. You're picking up the 50 on the weekly here. Talk about multi-time frame confirmation. So we're at the 50 right here on the weekly. Now, have we defended the 50 before? No, we breached it during the tariff tantrum. So yeah, I just want to do a little TA on this bad boy over here. So long story short, picking up Meta in the long term. We're going to get it little by little. It's not going to be all at one time.
Lemon family, I said going to the washroom, not washing my face out 4 a.m., silly. Second day in a row. Yeah, Apple was really nice, man. I'm glad that worked out for you. Sharif, I like that you're talking about Meta here because I like this move down here. I'm looking at some calls. They're pretty expensive. Right. I find it funny. So I don't know how correct this is. Guys, if you can fact check this, but this is really interesting. So we're at the money here. What are we trading at? 658? Oh, okay. What? 659? They don't even got it. Can't even access that. Why?
If it's not 69, I don't want to hear it.
You don't want to. You don't want to hear it. All right. All right. That's weird. Why can't even? I can't even on that expiration cycle. I can't even get there. What kind of BS is that, Sharif?
I don't know, bro. What do you want from me, man?
I'm at 3,400. I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
But I mean, I like it, man. And the at the money IV isn't overly high, right? So at 36.2%. You got to pay $4,000 for it, but at the end of the day, I might like this. I want to grab some of this here just because I'm feeling a little risque, especially when you see a name like this, gap down. This is a big time, right? And then now if you get that indecision print, now the volume is there. So if you get an additional fake out in and around those lows, your boy's going to get involved into some meta as well, too. So I'm going to be patient on that one. Yeah, I'm going to be 100% getting involved on that one.
But can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
If the options are expensive,
yeah,
because of, I'm assuming a lot of people want to weasel in them because, you know, it's on sale, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What's your aversion to getting in through the equities, right? Is it just the exposure of, or just not enough possible returns because the options give you more upside?
Well, I mean, no, I mean, shares are good. Like if you're looking to hold it for a long term,
right?
But it's also a $700 name, so it's more expensive. Chew up more buying power, right?
Understood.
So yeah. So essentially, if you're going to leverage it, but I mean, I can buy 10 shares of Meta. Obviously, you know this. But if I'm buying a contract, that's the right to 100. So yeah. But I mean, like if you think about it, 10 shares of Meta right now are going to cost you $6,000. And then you can pay $3,500 for the right to 100.
That's fair. Yeah.
So
you gotta buy those 100 if you get the right to them, right? Like you still have to execute on that contract.
Well, you don't have to.
If you choose to.
Yeah, if you choose to. Yeah, and then you can just exercise at the right. But that means you obviously have to pay the difference in between the premium paid and the amount of shares, which would I personally don't have $60K to be jumping on a bunch of.
Not for Meta. And not at this time when you're trying to buy a dang house.
Yeah, exactly. Bang warrants are also dope as well too. Bro, Joseph getting my calls now. What's up,
Get it, Joey?
Yeah, chill. I mean, hey, I like it. Patience. There's nothing wrong with patience. These guys were preaching that this morning, and I think it was really important considering how the market's kind of acting today. I didn't have it. And I mean, I can't even really complain. I had a pretty good start to the week, and then today was just one of them. So, I mean, I was so close to hitting that trade that I was looking for on Microsoft, but sometimes close isn't enough, right? And that's just the reality of this, but we like Meta down here. Let's take a look at Microsoft as well, too. So that's starting to engulf some of this range. So that's a pretty good look. And I think with Google, you have to be cautious because that's a big time hammer at the top end of this range here, and this might be just overextension. If you go from those April lows, you're up 100% in the likes of Google, which is phenomenal. And I was saying to Katina, man, I think that was probably one of the worst investment moves I've ever done. Well, I mean, it wasn't too bad, but I had substantially more Google than what I did of Robinhood. And yeah, that was a tough move, getting out of Google and rotating it into NVDA and Robinhood, but here it goes. I think it's like what it is essentially in my mind is it's a rotation, right? So one day these guys are moving, Bitcoin's gonna crap the bed. Well, Bitcoin will have its time in the light, right? In the spotlight. It's just not right now. So yeah, that's just the reality of it.
Joey, a couple of trades, and I want to get to the super chat. MSAI is breaking out. We got 34s. It's just taking 45s right now. Here comes 46. There's 47. Let's go on this one. We got shares on this one, so let's see if we can move up aggressively here. 45% right now for MSAI. There's 48. I expect resistance at 50, though, because we did break above 50, but most of the prints are in and around 50 pennies. So be on the lookout for rejection there. There goes EBS into 1305 high. We've got 1290s. I'm still looking forward to add more on EBS. If it does come back into the $0.75, I'm talking about 1275. I perceive 1275-ish to be the breakout level. And shout out to Dangerous, man. Sharif, your morning note is hot fire. Enjoying the insight, the read, and the time saver. Thank you, man. You are absolutely welcome. Shout out to Dangerous, man. I appreciate the kind words. And I got to remind everybody, if you received one of the free memberships that so many different people have gifted, Casey, Nimrud, so many other people. I know I'm forgetting people, and I do apologize. You can get my morning note every day, and the way to do it is to weasel on over to the YouTube homepage for Trader TV click posts right there. As soon as you click posts, you'll see Sharif's morning note, and then there's Zuck. You know, he's all upset because his company is getting shellacked to the tune of 11 3/4 today. And then just click the read more. There is the Google Drive link. You click that bad boy, and it's a PDF. You view it on your phone. You view it on your desktop. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's got a bunch of stuff, guys. You get 3 levels of support, 3 levels of resistance with explanations as to why. You get the full story. You get the context of the story, so it's not just in isolation, and you get the trader takeaway. And the trader takeaway here is key because it gives you an intraday bias, a swing bias, a long-term bias. It's not one-dimensional. It's multifaceted. So make sure you're getting that every day if you're subscribed. And if you're not subscribed and you didn't get one of those free memberships, the way to do it is to go and do the following. Let me show you over here. So you're going to go on to the YouTube, or you're going to click right below the video. So of the stream right here, it says join. You click that join button. It's $4.99 a month, Canadian or American. There's a handsome Brendo. Click that join right there, and then you'll get that sent every single morning. Thanks for Dangerous for pointing that out. Got Joey, EBS continues to go. We wet the beak there at 10s. It's a 13.10 of high day, but I'm looking for a move now into 75. In fact, I'm going to throw an order in. I'm going to front run the order at 75. I'm going to throw an order at 80. I'm going to throw it at 82. Okay, and we're going to see whether we can get some more down there because I perceive that to be the breakout level. Here comes 87, Joey. We may not have to wait that long for an 82 ad. Packing the patience here, looking for support or former resistance to flip to support, and then we're going to do it live.
All right, yeah, let's take a look at that. What's your thoughts on long-term SPY options with gaps, strong support? Top of gap, we'll take a look at that. But first and foremost, my guy Jameson, do you have any thoughts on my option TNA 70 call April 17th? All right, well, I like to see April 17th. We like that. This is the 10. I think this is a 10-year, isn't it? TNA. Oh no, 3x. Oh, okay. 70. I'm assuming you bought it out of the money April, so it's relatively cheap. Let's pull up the chain to see what roughly it's worth right now. And then, I mean, if it's just like a little bit of a lottery ticket, I can't even pull up these strike prices for some reason anymore. We'll go over to April. Maybe if you can.
Absolutely.
We got 7. I got it here. So the April 17th, 169 days from now. $2.65 TNA.
TNA.
Yeah. I mean, 165 days, 69 days from now, $265. I mean, you're obviously $20 away from that, a little bit more, 23. Hey, why not? It didn't cost you much, so at the end of the day, not too bad. $230 just to have a little bit of fun, and if it works out, then by all means, hopefully it does. We can take a look at some of the technicals on it as well too, TNA, and I mean it's just steady up and to the right. You're not going to complain too heavy about that. We'll draw a little bit more lines. We got the algo stuff on there.
Okay.
So yeah. I mean, it's pretty tough, but hey, if you gain any form of extrinsic value on that, then lock it in. You're punching through some of these levels, and I think you're good to rock and roll. But that steady move to the top side, you can't really complain about it whatsoever. Now let's think about SPY long term. Let's take a look at SPY and see what the SPIDA has been up to. I mean, yeah, long term, you want to be involved in this, right? It's funny because we talked about this in the likes. Let's hide this stuff here right now because we want to just talk technicals. We don't want to see what's going on with everything else. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to take into consideration you're at 41%. And we went over this before with the likes of Microsoft. Is Microsoft the overall market? Absolutely not. But for all my veteran traders, you know that we talked about before any of this even happened. We're like, hey, is this sustainable? And the answer was no. Is this going to be sustainable in the market? Maybe. I mean, we have the mega caps increasing CapEx spend on AI, bunch of money coming into the markets, lowering interest rates, a lot positive going on. But is it going to maintain on this type of trajectory? No, without somewhat of a pullback. I think you will get it eventually, but until then, don't fight it. But I obviously like SPY long-term, and I love the Qs long-term. You can't go wrong. Why? Because look at history. Look what history has told us, Sharif.
What did it say?
Stocks only go up at the end of the day.
Just show them the indexes.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with the stocks part.
The index, the index 100%. When would you like me to go back until? If 30 years isn't enough and you still think that the world is going to fall apart and crumble, then again, that's you. You're going to hold that bias, and that's totally fine.
Yeah,
I hope you had a couple of good times there in 2020 where you had that 3 months of selling and then you just rip for a year, and then after that you have a year of selling. So congratulations, you get 52 weeks of that, and then now you've been just essentially on a massive move for the past 3 years. Now, if you think that it's going to plummet and go to zero,
I just gotta go before we go to Adair, guys. MSAI is breaking out. It's above the $0.50 right now. We got 34s on. We just took out 54s. Looking for the next print at 55s. It's up 50%. And most notably, we're above the $0.50. But I don't think by sufficient amount here to get me comfortable, because I have a bias here that the $0.50 is the real level of resistance, despite the fact that we've been up to 65 pennies on the day. Just way too many prints rejecting at that $0.50 for me to feel otherwise. Before we go as well, I think I'm going to get out everything if it loses a 2/3 of a dollar. I still have one DCA there to defend, what's it called? The 75 penny area, which it didn't dip down into quite yet. So EBS in focus. And then I also want to cover MSTR, because the individual asked me nicely in the chat there, what was his name? Don G. Dangler. He's got 0.1 BTC. Ooh. And his question was, Joey, is MSTR dead? It has earnings today, but it's red on the year. Any buyers last 365 days are negative. MSTR, my friend, just looking quickly over here, is down 8.5% on the year. So you're absolutely right. I guess it had the bigger move earlier in the year. Here's the deal. It's losing the 200, and now you've got the death cross. You got the death cross, Joey, between the 50 exponential and the 200 exponential. You got it on, I want to say, either the 21st or the 20th of October. That's no good. You did defend the 200 before. Take a look at what we did in March and April during the tariff tantrums. We actually defended the 200. Not so anymore. So I'm looking possibly at a 225. I think $225 has proven itself as an interesting area of support. If it loses that level, you know, I definitely wouldn't be looking for more, but I'd be picking some up there if I'm already long. 225 on MSTR. Adair.
Very timely to MSTR mention, because what I'm going to spend my time doing here during this crypto segment is looking through what we're expecting here for these earnings names. As you can see, we get Strategy at 4 p.m. We're going to get Coinbase at 4:10 and Riot at 4:30. So not one, not two, but three crypto names to be aware of reporting after the bell. Let's get into them. We'll start with MSTR. As I mentioned, reporting first at 4 p.m. We're expecting losses here of 11 cents per share on revenue of $118.2 million. Then 10 minutes later at 4:10, we'll be getting Coinbase, COI, and earnings per share we're expecting here of $1.13, revenue $1.72 billion, and last but not least, at the same time as Apple, we will be getting Riot at 4:30 p.m. We're expecting losses of 19 cents per share, revenue $164.67 million. So Coinbase is the only one of the three that we're actually expecting to post a quarterly profit. Wrong direction. There we go. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin on the daily. We're now making our fourth straight day to the downside and continuing to run into some resistance at that 116,000 level or just above. So just a look here for BTC, but we still haven't made a lower low on the daily. It'll be interesting to see what we do here at that 106, just below 107 area on Bitcoin. We'll take a look at Ethereum as well. ETH looking pretty similar to Bitcoin here, finding some resistance in the case of Ethereum here around that area just above 4,200. Make sure to like and subscribe as we send you back to Sharif and Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Shadow Rap has to say 100%. There's no beating around that bush.
Sorry, Joey. What did I do?
No, I just seen you chuckle over there, so I kind of want to get it. I want to kind of get on it, but that's all right, man. I'll feel promo.
He's keeping an eye on things, eh? He's keeping an eye.
I see you little chuckle over there, man. No, but in all seriousness, we got a super chat. We'll go over that momentarily. Uplift markets. Joseph, what are your thoughts here? Joe is on a roll today. Let's go, Sergio. I am not, my friend. What is your thoughts on leaps with options? Do you think it's worth it to swing positions like swinging meta call options? I think it won't last long here. No, I don't think it's going to last long there either. I mean, we talked about history. These guys are so big. You got to think about. I did. How many? I made multiple. I can continue to do so, but just let me know. I'm putting something on.
You got to be careful how you talk to.
Well, I know. I'm just saying. Like I continuously do it
for no reason.
I said here. Look, I'll do it again one more time here. There. Boom.
Boom.
No, see, it's not showing up anything. So just let me know if it does. Keep asking me, but if it's not working, then that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's sim. So at the end of the day, it's just rep. Man. So okay. What is your thoughts on leaps? Yeah, I mean, with Meta. You can't go wrong, right? Like, well, you can obviously, but at the end of the day, anytime it experiences that type of pullback, I think you want to start dabbling in it a little bit. That's why I was going over the options activity, and I think at some point, even if you do crack a little bit lower, you got to take into consideration that from that close yesterday to the lows of today's session, you're down 12% at one point.
Oh my goodness!
So you want to buy this. This gap will get filled eventually. That's a trade in itself.
Crazy.
673 all the way to 744. That's a big time move. I'll take that all day, every day. And I think Meta in the long run is going to be just fine. It's crazy that I used to own this when it was Facebook. I think I paid like $80 or something like that for this thing. And I'm like, whatever.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane, like $80. And I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I was in my earlier 20s.
Can I tell you, sometimes ignorance is bliss.
It's the best. I have no idea.
And you're up like 100%.
Yeah. In all honesty, that's just how it is. Like, and I was thinking to myself, am I overthinking some things? Or do I just go back to my old strategy of Googling what the best company is in each specific sector and just buying it and then forgetting about it for multiple years? I think that's a solid strategy.
Can I say something? Katina Man had a fantastic story. He's like, one of the viewers sent him a message, like they talk back and forth on the gram or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, look, man, I'm punching into Meta, Nvidia, and Netflix. The dude bought a ton of it back in the day, and he reported back to Katina Man, I think like a few months ago. He's up like, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands, right? The dude, he just punched one of the good companies.
That, man.
He puts in money, you know, every now and again. He doesn't monitor it that much. I mean, there is something to be said about that kind of bliss of not having to be, you know, ensconced to the market at all times.
And micromanaging it from a day-to-day perspective. Right? It's like at those times, I just had this chunk of money. I'm like, oh, okay, bang. And then like for months, I wouldn't even think about it. I would look at the portfolio and it's like, oh yeah, okay, this is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not always the case. If you buy garbage, then it's most likely going to be garbage.
Like we're being very simplistic.
If you're if you're one of these top companies, I mean, if you're the top 9, if you're $1 trillion company, there's a reason why you get there, and I don't think it's the .com bubble because these guys aren't heavy into the debt. They have the cash flow on hand, so why not buy more of them?
No, cash flow.
Yeah.
All right, Joey, let's update everyone on MSAI. We're taking prints there. We just took 55s. We're waiting now at 58, 60, 62. Let's see what MSAI has to offer. It's back above the $0.50. I think it may hold the $0.50. Let's see. You never really know with these things. 165 area high. Trying not to take out too much too quickly so we can get a nice move up and possibly wet the beak a little bit more. The other trade that we've got on EBS, still holding in and around my area. I still haven't gotten my dip trade, but I still like the look of this one's chart pattern. I'm looking for an 82 print, waiting for it. It's giving me 83s right now. It's not crossing, so we'll pack the patience there. I also want to bring up, there goes MSAI into another area high, into 59s. Now it's knocking the door of 60. So we just took another print there at 58. We'll get another one possibly at 60 and then another one at 62 if it makes its way up there. But I want to bring in two new names that I didn't mention today because they weren't on the side charts. Criminal. Now, Criminal is really like becoming less of a small cap gapper because it's a materials name and we know what the critical minerals name, and we know what they're doing lately, but it's got a good looking chart pattern. It holds break even almost to the T, drops down to 1160, which was the closing print from yesterday, rockets back up with a 1345 high. It's up 14, almost 0.5%. It's got resistance here into the 40s, I want to say 50s. The implied, or the 8 a.m. spike took us to 1350. The official high day, 1345. CRML, I'd be buying probably at 13. Looks like a breakout area after this consolidation break, as well as being the 10 EMA and the 5. So Criminal, possible buy at 13. I'd get out if it loses 1280 because 1280 is a 20. That's number one. Wow, look at MSAI go. We're going to have to digress again. and take a look. We got the 60 print, the 62 print, though, not yet. The other one I wanted to bring to your attention, VKTX. Shout out to the individual. I think it was Jamlocky that or Lossy, or I don't know how to say it, that called this one out. Viking Therapeutics as well. Not really small cap gapper. We know about this one. They've sold off quite aggressively, recovering a little bit of $4.33 billion market cap. It's got support here, I see, at 38.50, between 38.25 to 38.50. Price action, resistance in the pre-market into 38.25, 10 EMA on the 5, support at 38.50. I could be interested here on Viking. Bit more of expensive of a name, obviously, so you'll have to size in accordingly. We'll see what we get there with VKTX. So 2 new ones I wanted to bring to your attention: CRML, VKTX, all former runners that we all know. MSA frickin' I, we take out that level at 2. So now we have no more prints. And guess what? Now the new print is going to go above the high of the day. So it will have to be, by definition, a high of day break for me to get printed. But how about that EBS trade? It's coming in. We got the fill, but it's going to have to hold some technical levels here, because now we have 4 candles in a row on the 5-minute chart that are red. Each and every one of them has lower lows and lower highs. We're coming into that technical support area, though. I'm looking for support here, Joey. Let's find out. It's Jamlossy. Jamlossy, my bad.
Okay.
Dollar Sales Solutions, VIVK under $1, a little bit of a bamboozler, but over VWAP and 50 and the 20. That's my man. My man's talking language there. He's talking my language there. I didn't even have to, even read too much. So let's go ahead and, we're going to reward that kind of behavior, Joey, because it's fantastic. VIVK.
Did you see that, Fabian?
What happened?
I'm talking to my boy, Faye.
You're talking to the Chilean nightmare?
Hey.
What's he doing over there?
He's asking me...
Yo, we're not going to comment on the finance bro vest that you got on today?
You like it?
I really like it,
Thanks,
bro.
man.
Red on black.
I appreciate it.
And it's finance bro vest.
Bro, I appreciate it. It's not a finance
You just gotta find your way onto Wall Street now with all the other finance bro
Hey, man, I'm on Wall Street number 2, man. It's
that's Bay Street.
Man.
Let's not give it away. VIVK, guys.
It's Bay Street bullies, brother.
It's a Bash Brothers, bro. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, yeah. The Bash Brothers on the Bay Street.
Joey, we got to do some TA here, bro, okay? VIVK. Yes, I do like this one.
Baby?
Double on this guy at 28.5. The only thing about this one, Dollar Sales Solutions, we're just working our way now back up into the volume weighted average price. That, VIVK, just putting it on the side chart, sorry. We're working back into VWAP now. I'd like a move above 32 to 33 pennies. A lot of wicks in and around there. I'm going to keep this one on the side chart. I try to stay away from these sub $1 names when I can, especially if there are others that are above $1 and running. But, I don't want to call myself a beggar, but, sometimes I feel like I'm begging for good names. So beggars can't be choosers here. We're going to throw VIVK on the side chart, Joey, and if it's warranted, we're going to execute on it. What's your look over there, my man?
Yeah, for sure. We got to go over our boy, Dave.
Oh,
Keep it, Dave.
Dave dropping cash in the chat.
50 smackers.
Ew. Well, in a good ew, though.
Yeah, a nasty ew. Yeah, that's nasty, for sure. Hold on, we'll hit this, because I know a lot of people were asking about it, so we'll do this for Dave's. We might need our own little snippet here for Dave's dumb trade of the day. Hold on. All right,
Dave.
we're
going to need to break these glasses.
Yeah, I got it. You know how tempted I am to sometimes when you have your water bottle right here, I'm just so tempted to go like that, but I'd probably get in a little bit of trouble for that, but all right. Here it is, guys. Probably the new hottest segment of the day. It is Dave's Dumb Long Swing. TMQURE for November 4th earnings. Bonus fact, Vanguard, BlackRock, S Street could all have told Elon privately. Now he got votes for 1 trillion comp back before public. Shady AF. Yeah. Legal. Yeah. If Elon and Robin chillin', your glass guess. That was a little tough to read, to be honest with you. I'm not going to beat around the bush on that one, but shout out to Dave. Let's go over a couple of the names that he was mentioning today, and that's going to be Thames, not the singer Thames. You know who that is, right?
I know the River Thames.
Oh, okay, you know the river. That's in Egypt, right? Okay, all right. Well,
it's the Nile, my boy.
Well, I mean, there could be more than one river.
It's the
all right. Okay. Anyways, that was TEM. This is Tempest AI. Let's head over to
Get it, Joey.
Do the daily and see what we got going on. We were looking at the weekly, not too bad. I mean, this is the channel trading right here. And as long as that stays intact, I think you're going to be okay. So continuously hold on to that. Once you get on the backside in the lower end of that channel, then maybe you want to assess the situation for those who are involved in this. Now, as for QURE, let's take a look at that one. Ooh, okay, who are you? This is very, very interesting. So you get this massive gap up from 14 all the way to $69. What the?
69?
Yeah, what the hell there, Sharif? That's 380% just like that. Hopefully you're involved in that. So not too bad of a look, my friend. And thank you, Dave, as always, for that new hottest segment of the session.
Oh, I like that. All right, guys. We're still holding on to some positions over here. I'm thinking about Adam James, you're killing me. I have to read this, bro.
Well, I thought maybe because you mentioned you would know. Or
I didn't say anything, bro. I'm not the one who supered this chat. It's not me.
Yeah, it's Adam.
Oh, my God. I'm getting blamed for Adam's super chat.
Crazy.
Shout out to Adam, $2 super chat. Thames in Egypt. Joseph, we needed intervention. Nah.
Now Ramin's trolling, too.
Well, of course she's trolling. That's what she does. How's it going?
What's up, Randy?
How are you? Yeah. Multi-talented.
You see this? You see this? Can't even catch a break.
Keep bringing it, Ram.
Listen, I got a digital board of me crying up here, and then essentially, I'm getting these direct messages.
Ram.
Also, just the ultimate. They did me so wrong. It's
Ram.
crazy.
I just want to know. Joey and I have been talking about this. Ram. Randy, you're. Why did you put Joey crying on the phone? Is it because he's obsessive with his positions? Because
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm well aware it's dying, Ramin. Jeez,
I love this guy. All right, guys. MSAI dipped down below 50, guys. I'm considering what I want to do next here with MSAI. Dip below 50, hammer candle into 45. It's getting bought up. Look, here's the deal. This hammer candle right now is quite bullish. So if this hammer candle closes green, the high of this hammer candle is 153. If it breaks over 153 and starts going above 155, I'm going to add into this position because that's quite bullish there. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to add into 155. So we're going to go 155. Then we're going to be looking to add, we'll give it like a 2-penny spread for some there. So we'll get a breakout trade if it happens. But the problem is now EBS. It's at that area of technical support. It's not breaking down below it, but it's a 5-candle retracement now off a technical level. I've got, what do I got on here? So for EBS, I'm long at 85s. All right, here it comes, man. It's already showing me 75, so we're 10 pennies out of the money here. If we lose a 60-penny level, that's going to be the end of the trade. Let's go ahead and throw that right now so that we don't have any decisions to make with respect to this one that are subjective. So we're going to go ahead and do that, 1250 with that many shares. So we're throwing that in, Joey, come what may on this one. Now, I also want to mention a different one over here. VIVK was one that I gave you guys a little bit earlier, or sorry, that individual gave us a little bit earlier, and it was trading below VWAP. Now it looks like it's kind of reclaimed VWAP around 33 pennies. I think if this gets above, you know, that 30, 33 and a half, you definitely have something here, but it feels like it's a bit of a choppy trade, full disclosure on that. Nothing else for me other than to say Criminal continues to print into the high of day, 1350 area high. Viking Therapeutics came into VWAP, and it looks like it's holding up at the volume weighted average price. Still has higher highs and higher lows on the general intraday trend. Looks like VWAP just a little bit above $38. It's trading at 38.38. It looks like it bottomed out there with the low of this candle at 38.20. So you didn't quite make it down into 38 bucks. So those are the ones I'm looking at right now. I don't really have anything else. Farm Trader, INTS, about to break pre-market high, running for $1. Let's look at INTS for Farm Trader. INTS. Oh, this is a prolonged looking bull flag. Not bad call, my man. Good call up from trader. You're going to have to pack your patience with this one. As we always talk about, no two bull flags are created equal. Some, will have periods of consolidation that are very short-lived. Some will have prolonged periods of consolidation, and this is one of those ones where certainly it's more prolonged. We got into the area high, I want to say, around 840, and since that time, we've been kind of holding a general area range. It looks like 65 pennies here with the low and about 85 pennies generally to the high, so about a 20 penny range. My suggestion to you is pick it at the lower end of the range, hold it, wet the beak, and then hold a piece for the dream for the breakout into $1. INTS, good one here, my man. Thank you for pointing it out. Joey.
All right, cool. Derek, what do you got for us?
So to let you guys know, I'm seeing some commentary coming from the CEO of Goldman Sachs, David Solomon. Nothing major, but just be aware stock has dropped a little bit. Volume on this, again, is also low. It's under 800,000 shares traded on the day. But just saying, talking about the risks of government shutdowns and then talking about the debt situation. Currently speaking here at the Economic Club of Washington, D.C. at an event. Just be aware that this is happening in case you happen to be in this name. Back to you.
Yes, thank you very much for that. All right, I mean, there it is, guys. TQs to the downside, that worked out. Just adding into that momentum. And there, sure enough, you head into those key support levels, looking for that specific zone to snap, and then maybe you can take an additional leg lower. There is a ticker called Joe, says our guy Jam Lossy. Let's see what Joe is up to. Up 14% today. All right. This isn't the Joe T ETF. You know the Joe Terra Nova ETF?
I love that one.
The Joe T?
I like Joe T, bro.
Yeah.
What does he
like
have in that thing,
it?
man?
What is in there?
What is the, you know the ticker?
No, I don't know the ticker of it. I think Neil might know, but
it is Joe T, bro.
No, it's not.
It is.
Yeah,
let's find out what he has here, Joey. Let's go.
See what he got.
Ownership. I got it over here.
Oh, bang.
All right, here we go. So let's find out what he got in this bad boy, Joey. Ownership. What do we got? Oh, holdings. That's it. Sorry. He's got Apple Oven, 1.5%. He's got a ton of stuff in here, and look out the small percentage.
Yeah,
He's got Apple Oven, 1.5. Tesla's 1.05. Lamb at 1. Hood, he's got at 1. EA at 1. Newmont, shout out to my boy Alfred for that one. He's got goggles on there.
Sharif, you know what's coming up next? My
TK freaking O.
My favorite.
There it is. What's KLAC? I want to know what that is. KLAC. Show yourself. KLA Corp. What is that? Supplier, process controls, yield management solution, semiconductor. I see. Shout out to Joe T, man. The man with the ETF there.
Man. Yeah,
you want your own ETF, Joey?
Yeah, the Joe W ETF?
Yeah.
It's like, what it was, like 99%.
You going to charge prohibitive management fees?
No, it's
and rinse
free,
everybody?
Man. No, absolutely not, man. We got zero management fees there. We don't want any of that stuff.
That's okay.
90% Bitcoin and then 1%.
90% Bitcoin. That's fantastic.
No, obviously we would never do that. But no, guys, honestly, to my favorite stock that I don't own, zero management is right, Mike Peter, right? My favorite stock that I do not own. Why? I do not know. But this thing has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, if you go to the I think it was a SPAC or whatever it was. But so
MSAI losing the bid.
There, go grab it.
Yeah, go ahead. I just want to tell everybody it's losing the bid. Yeah.
I mean, so there it is on TKO, man. So if you want to get your hands into some WWE and UFC and combat sports, slap and everything along those lines, this is your route right here. I'm most definitely going to get involved in this in one day. Wait for an aggressive pullback, but this is just steady up and to the right. I'm not going to compare. Well, I'm going to compare apples to oranges right now, and it just gives me kind of Walmart feels. I think the UFC is going to be continuously growing. Obviously, with they're now on Paramount Plus, and then you have Netflix striking deals with the WWE as well too. They've been on that platform for quite some time. I think it's only going to get better and better because America loves its wrestling, and I think all of the Americas love their combat sports because it's absolutely massive in Brazil as well too. Not saying that they're going to be getting Paramount Plus or anything along those lines, but I like TKO holding, Sharif.
Big smiles in the chat. Shout out to Big Smile. Man? The LJS ETF.
Oh, you know what that's. We're not going to repeat what that is.
Bro, I don't even know what it is, man.
Come on,
I'm
man.
always oblivious to everything,
it's
bro.
It's literally when he calls me every single day.
Oh, little. Little Joey Smalls. Oh no. Neely, would you punch into the LJS ETF? He's already long.
That's why Neil's my boy, man.
Yeah, Neil wouldn't do you dirty like that, bro. He'll punch in a couple of shares.
He wouldn't make it happen. Honestly, but what if at some point I start offering a divvy and everything along those lines?
That's crazy talk right there, bro.
And then at that point, it's just. We're rocking and rolling. So, no, in all seriousness, guys, let's see what the overall market's up to here. I know someone said those charts are too dark, so I just switched it to the light for you considering. But I can't show you what's going on south of that on the daily. I mean, it's not algo time just yet, so we'll go over that a little bit later. It's almost already noon, which is surprising. But at the end of the day, what I wanted to focus on here is what we are looking at. Did we get a little bit of a bounce in Bitcoin? Not quite, but it is holding up that $60 relatively well. And then Beyond Meat, I had a friend actually message me, what's that up to? I said, yeah, it's essentially a nothing burger. And yeah, it's a meme stock. But look for these levels to hold. We haven't snapped that. We don't have a 5-minute candle that's opened on the backside of that trend. So again, I think the sellers are in complete control of today's session in a lot of these names, especially in the Nasdaq with the SPYs up to sideways price action. Alphabet cooled off considering it's up substantially after yesterday's earnings report. Things cooled down. No gap and go here today for Google, Sharif.
All right, Joey, we're just throwing in a stop over here. We just got into Viking. Right now, double bottom into VWAP. Where do we get in? 39s. Okay, let's go ahead and post some orders here on Viking. Let's see what we get. Stop below current bar low. Simple as that. We're going to keep it super simple. Current bar low has to hold. Otherwise, they get stopped out. The other deal here, EBS, we got the beak wet there at 88. There's 90 now, looking for continuation here on EBS. Remember I complained about the 5 candle in a row on the 5-minute chart that were lower highs and lower lows that were all red. Now we got a couple of green candles forming, guess where? Off that technical area of support we spoke about, 12 3/4. Let's see, does it work its way back above 13? It's not good enough just to hold off support. You're holding off support so you can mosey back up into area highs. There it goes, Joseph, into 13. We've got 85s on now. Let's see if we can get that continuation on this one. We got shares on this one as well. So we'll be able to take some beak wetters, hopefully, into the area high. Show me 1303 now on the ask. 99s on the bid, looking for continuation. Where's my next out? It is at 5s, I believe. So looking for a move in there. High of day, guys, 8 pennies away. 1310 HOD on EBS. So packing my patience, looking for continuation on that one. And there is the print at 5s. We get the print now. Nicely in the money on this one. Looking for a high of day break. We're about 4 pennies away from said high, and I only have one profit taker, and that is by definition, again, above the area high. So we're gonna post here into the 20s, man. So we're gonna see if we can get that nice move on EBS or what the situation is gonna be. The other one, MSAI, I told you guys I'd stop out if it lost current bar low, and there it is. So we'll give back. We're not going to give back anything on MSAI, but we obviously left money on the table because we didn't know what the beak with all the position at the highs. I'll look to do a little bit better. If this one gets above 155, we'll keep tabs on that. Back now to EBS, still zigging. There's 7s, Joey. Now we're about 2 pennies, or 3 pennies, excuse me, away from the high of the day. So let's see if we can get that price spike up. And then Viking, VKTX, we punched in at 39s. It's showing me 41s. We're not getting that price spike up quite yet. Prior bar high is 38.63. So to kind of change trend on Viking, we'd have to break above prior bar high. And as I mentioned, we got to print above 63 to do that. So packing the patience on that one, looking for a nice move up and then some. So that is my look on these 3. It looks like I think I butchered the MSAI trade because there's a whole bunch of bottoming tail candles. Let me make my case on this one. I think I got this one wrong. But where to get out. There's a lot of bottoming tail candles here. So despite the fact that we are putting in lower highs on 3 or 4 successive candles now on MSAI, these bottoming tail candles got to mean something to me. It means for the moment, sure, yeah, the sellers are out dueling the buyers, but there's buyers still there, and they're showing their hand quite well because these bottoming tail candles, well, it's those buyers getting back in. So I think I may have kind of done this one a little bit wrong. Where I may want to get back in is to wait for the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, break trend, and then I'll know that the buyers, at least for the moment, are overwhelming sellers. One quick one over here, INTS. This one is the one that we spoke about that has a long consolidative range on a bull flag, 65 pennies as the low, and about 87, 85 pennies as the high. That trend is breaking now. There's a new high a day, 91 pennies. It's up 237%. It looks like it wants to hit that dollar. And look at that volume profile. Pick right back up, bottom right of your screen. See the kind of the dearth of prints right there? No, well, they came back in quite aggressively. Now we're getting about 23 million shares per 5-minute candle here on INTS. Not a bad look at all. Looking, you know, if I want to weasel in there, I think I might have to set up some trades on that, Joey. So let them know what you're looking at, my man.
Absolutely. All right. So someone's telling me to look at Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines there. Intraday is looking pretty good. We won't complain about that. 2020. Yeah, sleep well indeed. Yeah, exactly.
What up?
We're not going to worry about that. No, Tony was just asking me. I told him that I made a calendar spread on my IBIT call. So essentially, he's like, Joe, did you buy your protection? Yeah, at the end of the day, I did.
Okay.
So yeah, just the writings, right? And I like it, man. I mean, I'll continuously do so. And if it doesn't get any form of a bounce and we crack through that 100, it's good. I'll just start writing a little bit. I'll keep it at my strike price. Unfortunately, I won't be able to write anything south of that, so hopefully it doesn't go into a complete crypto winter. That would be an absolute disaster, and then I would not be having a good time. But anyways, aside from that, we'll collect premium, and I'm just gonna buy some more after.
Okay.
So that's just how that's gonna rock and roll. But as for RCL, April lows, not too bad of a look, right? So you can go from there to that peak, 123%. I wouldn't say you're necessarily, like, it's close. So from that 24%, so you can classify it as bear territory, but like nice bounce. Watch for these support levels to hold. There's no coincidence that it bounces off this key pivot right here. Boom, I know Sharif likes that. Previous pivot high, you get that bounce, and then sure enough, maybe you can enter this gap, and then maybe from 298 all the way up to 316, Austin 316, we like that one. Now, it's time for...
No, let me mention something before we go to Adara and Neil's lesson of the day. Shout out to the OG Bovin, always doing the absolute most in a great way. AQMS, shout out to Bovin for this. Big breakout midday here on AQMS. Looking for reasons, not seeing anything on my blotter. Could be sympathy into something else. Here is the 5-minute look on AQMS. We closed out yesterday south of 7. Looks like 6 mid-90s. Price spike up. This is a real print. 945, dipping back down now below 9, looking at 8 3/4. Here are the levels. VWAP 840, 10 EMA on the 5, 804 just above 8, 20 EMA on the 5, 7 2/3. Look for continuation. If obviously what you're looking for is this candle to close, this candle is probably going to be an engulfed candle, but look for the subsequent candle to show you trend. So if this candle here, which has 3 minutes left on it, the 12 o'clock candle is engulfed by the prior candle likely, look at the third candle to develop after that, which will be the 1205 candle for direction. I'm going to be looking here on AQMS. Shout out to the OG Bovin for pointing this one out. It's time. Or happening now.
Here is the Nasdaq right now consolidating near the low of the day, and of course digesting some very mixed earnings reports from the likes of Meta, Google, and Microsoft. Meta, of course, being hit with that roughly $16 billion impact with taxes, which of course did end up impacting the EPS for Meta quite negatively for today. I want to mention as well Pinterest announcing this Pinterest Assistant. It's an AI-related product. They're going to be rolling it out in beta to U.S. users over the age of 18, not moving the stock much. But what is moving right now is Moderna. Apparently this started circulating around 11:15. I just saw the story probably like 2 minutes ago, but apparently there's an unconfirmed rumor circulating around that Moderna has been in talks to be acquired with at least one large drug maker. Apparently those talks are significant, quote unquote, in scope. So Moderna going to be on watch here as well. And I want to talk about the earnings today because we have two big ticket earnings names, a lot of other companies reporting as well, but Amazon, 4 p.m. ETA for these earnings. They beat EPS and revenue last quarter. Guidance was a little bit tepid, specifically with regards to operating income. Then at 4:30 p.m., we get Apple. We are expecting revenue of over $100 billion, earnings of $1.73 a share. If you want to look at these and get some more context on the company's past reports and future guidance, get a look at this on X at TTV Research. Before we send you back to Neil, take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics, OGEN. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., but there's still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics OGEN is changing that with its first in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more. Schedule a meeting today. Back to you and back to Neil. And his lesson of the day, take it away, Neil.
Thanks so much, Adara. So, you know how to track or look at your winners and be able to diagnose them because, hey, the trade's right there. You can see your entry, your exit. You know how to diagnose your losing trades. This is where I got in. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't have. Did I give too wide of a stop? Whatever it might be. Should I have taken some profit? There's lots of things to consider there, and that's how you're able to get better. But there's one thing that a lot of traders don't do, and sometimes I'm guilty of this myself, where when you're reviewing a day, okay, so today's been a good day, but the other question you should ask yourself is, oh, were there any like A or B plus setups that were there that I was tracking that I didn't take? Because you should grade yourself on those as well. The idea is that you're supposed to take everything in your strategy that's a positive expectancy. And when you don't do one of those, it's as good as making a mistake in a trade by not taking a trade. The same way I can tell you, sitting on your hands and not doing something sometimes is a position in itself. There are opportunities out there where you know what you're looking for whatever reason, you gotta ask yourself why, you don't pull the trigger. You have to understand that that's a mistake. So I'm gonna give you a couple of examples today, like the why, certainly one of them excusable, the other one not, and I'll start with the one because I happen to have it up that isn't excusable, and that's gonna be Meta. Meta was capitulation bottom, down 10%, all that stuff. So we did take a trade into VWAP, like first available dip into VWAP, fine, that worked. But when I was asked, are you going long as it goes back into the bottom, I answered no, I'm not, because I like the capitulation bounce play. It's a bit different when it gets down to that same bottom again to look for the reversal. What I was more interested in was the trend line break. Well, there's gonna be an absence of a trend line break for me in here. Now, here's the thing. I can tell you why I'm not in this trade, and there's a reason it's an obvious fail in this particular case. I wasn't at my desk. Got up to go to the bathroom and was walking around and taking a bit of a break when this trade was setting up. And that's the problem, because if you see something that's an A setup, then you got to stay in your desk to wait for it to either not give you the trade or to actually give you the trade. And I knew it was trending down. I elected to get up anyways, and you can see what happens when it broke the trend. Now, maybe I would have got in here. I'd like to hope that I would have been able to catch something in here or here. But the point is, I wasn't at my desk when that trade that you wait for on the trend line broke. And that just is what it is. Now I'm going to have to see here on Chipotle, by the way, waiting for it to potentially break this trend line up. And if I get up and miss that one, I won't feel as bad because it's SSR today, meaning it's a B setup, not an A setup for the short. But that's a big miss on Meta, because as I said, I wasn't trying to get it at the bottom. I was waiting for the trend line to break, and when that trade was there, I was not at my desk. And I have to be able to mark that as an L. It doesn't matter that you're up on the day. It doesn't matter that you're having a good day or a bad day. That was a positive expectancy. That was an A setup, and I wasn't at my desk to take it. So I've got to slap the fail on myself for that. In another circumstance, there's a trade that you would have heard me say that I liked, that I did not trade, and that was going to be SMCI. Look, I thought this was a good setup. You have a couple of days worth of uptrend. You have the false break of the high, trend down. It's a continuation day. I've shorted this one in the afternoon on Fed off of this level, and it failed it in the pre-market. It's trending down. Everything was set up for a reversion trade on SMCI. There was a couple of chances to do it. When it does this pop and fade here, when it did this trend line break in there as well. Now, the reason for not liking this one as much, which I'm going to stand by, at the moment that these were setting up, I simply didn't like the reversal that was happening in the market. It felt a little bit strong. You'd made a bunch of capitulation bottoms. I feel like those longs were still working themselves out. So therefore, what would normally be an A setup to me turned into not one because of the market sentiment. So while I didn't get this short, I was there for it. I was waiting. I looked at it in the moment, evaluated, and said, I'm not going to take that trade. So to me, that's fine. It turns out it was a mistake, but it's a mistake I can live with because I was at least here to make the decision instead of not doing a heck of a lot. I don't know, checking out like who's going to start for me in fantasy or whatever the heck I was doing in the moment when this setup happened in Meta. But the important thing is I go through that process, or a trader goes through that process of determining whether you made a good decision or a bad decision on all of the decisions you make, not just the trades, but sometimes the trades that you don't make. Because Meta, obviously this trend break was fantastic, and I gotta be kicking myself over it. It's not often that a stock like Meta is gonna be more than 10% down in SSR, so I know that I've gotta be at my desk for those moments. Don't be afraid to be critical of yourself on an up day. Don't be afraid to grade all of your decisions when you're sitting there in the, ooh, I'm having a great day moment. You've got to still be objective with yourself. You've got to always be trying to improve, work on what is next, because sometimes that trade you didn't make requires your attention as to why, and then grading whether that was a good decision or not. So the next time it sets up, I know that I can accept that I didn't trade SMCI and maybe not do that one again. But with the Meta, I know it's inexcusable. And I have to sit there and wait, just like I'm sitting here and waiting for Chipotle. Maybe it never happens, and I never enter into this short. But I can't let it give me the opportunity and miss it just because I wasn't at my desk. So I'll learn from that and sit here for a while for Chipotle to break down or not break down. There's your lesson of the day. Always make sure you are grading and judging all of your decisions and not just the executions that you got into, because it all matters as a trader. Good luck out there, everybody. A lot more day left as the market's back to VWAP.
Big pop here for RCAT. Keep an eye on any drone stock here, though. So what happened is I'm seeing a report from Reuters. The Pentagon has a new DOGE unit, that's the Department of Government Efficiency, and they're going to be leading efforts apparently to acquire tens of thousands of low-cost drones in the coming months. So again, keep an eye on this. Reuters reporting that the Pentagon's DOGE unit is going to be leading efforts to acquire tens of thousands of low-cost drones in the coming months. We know, of course, the Department of Government Efficiency is focused on cutting costs and being efficient. So low-cost drones make sense. Keep an eye on any of these drone plays. I took a look at a couple of them. RCAT, by far the biggest mover that I found so far in this, guys. And over to Sharif and Joe.
That Maui Wowie, that Maui Wowie. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Get it, Ram Ram.
Did you see in that China drone show, a bunch of them malfunctioned?
No.
And they were all on fire, and they're dropping like on fire.
AI or real?
It looked pretty real to me.
Oh.
Yeah. It looked pretty real. There goes
Probably didn't get any Maui Wowie.
Man, they were all on fire, and they're dropping like they were coming like fireballs, man. It was crazy, and people were running. What happened? What did they say now, man?
MSAI Wowie. Yes, we got back in MSAI. Sorry, Joey.
No, it's all right, man.
Here's the deal. We got back into MSAI, so it did stop me out, but I told you I think I executed wrong on this one, so I got back in. We were rewarded for getting back in, but I am alive to the fact that we are putting lower area highs. Let me make my case to you guys.
I'm listening.
So, yeah, sorry, I was just trying to pull up the chart. Chill, bruh. MSAI, area high, 165. That's the area high. Lower high, 164. Lower high, 160. So I am alive to this fact. You have to be alive to this, otherwise you're going to get into some trouble because it's going to turn on you. Go EBS freaking go, Joe. Here we go, man. We got shares on this mother, you know what, too.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the way it is, Joey. So let's go ahead and post here. Where do we get in, Joe? We got in at 93s because we got stopped out for the remaining amount. So we got right back in the same way that I was talking about with MSAI. It's showing me 20s. I'm posting up at 25s. Let's see if this one can break through the top. It's a 21 penny high. It's showing me 20s right now. So let's see what we get on this one, and we will not get upset. And shout out to my other friend here, Viking freaking Therapeutics. We got 39s on. We just wet the beak there at 80s. Now I'm posted at 90s. There it goes into 83s. Maui Wowie. That Maui Wowie. Let's go, bro. Let's go. Let's take out 88s. We got nothing posted above that, man. So we're going to go ahead and post at 94 to see if we can get a nice move up there. So, yes, Assassino, of course. You instruct and we do. Where is it at? It's on the screen. Ross. Cameron? Ross about. Can you keep me updated on NAVN TAP as it goes up to date? Ross, you instruct and we follow, my man. So let's go ahead and load up NAVN. Neil, is it on the NQ? Thank you. So the TAP, $22 currently at the moment. Let me find it on the imbalance locator as well. Neil said it was like very low down on there, so I'm going to try to find it for you. Let's go. Let's filter by size first and foremost. It's not showing up under the size. NAVN is the ticker, right? Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's all good there, Joey. You're good to go. NAVN, looking, not seeing it. I can filter by paired volume. Yes, there it is. Okay, so we got a buy side imbalance, but for like Bupkis, 1,700 shares. It's paired though, about 2.3 million shares so far. So we're seeing the top, the theoretical auction price come in at 22.01. The size is kind of small, despite the fact that it's a buy imbalance. So we'll let you know when that one does its thing, 25, and we'll keep an eye on that. It looks like I got stopped out of MSAI again. So we went the beak there, but it came all the way back down and stopped me out again at VWAP. So yeah, I should have been, man, I wasn't alive to that. Crap.
Singing Maui Wowie.
Yeah, well, I was doing looks for somebody else.
Too busy.
The Maui Wowie was not what the thing that sent it down.
All right.
Leave me alone. All right, we're doing it live though on EBS. Joey taking out the high, so you know we give back on one, make it back on the other. So now it's post at 33s here on EBS, and now we're going to post a little bit higher as well at 40. Let's see what we get on this bad boy. Looking for Viking here. We got the beak wet at 90s, not bad. Now waiting at 98s here for Viking Therapeutics. So packing the patience on all these ones, but disappointed with my stop placement on MSAI. I should have been, as I mentioned, I should have been more aggressive with my stop placement because of the lower highs. Sorry, I'm looking at VKTX. So MSAI, lower highs, and yeah, I got caught in that 160 rejection, so we give back a little bit there.
Yes, sir.
Ket, copy, paste. $10 super chat. Thank you, Ket, copy, paste. I've been banging the table on VKTX for months. Love the coverage here. Up $22,000 just on today's move onwards. Brother, I know that you're probably telling the truth because, well, this thing was all sorts of weak. Let's talk about the technicals on this one, Joey, on a wider time frame.
Yes, sir.
Because it is one hell of a drop and then a pop here. So this is what we're talking about. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, so this is when they're phase 3, either a phase, it was like one of their drug trials, you know what, the bed, or it was earnings. And I do remember this drop as well. So several drops. This thing was trading up at $100. No splits, by the way. Double bottoms at $22.50. And then, you know, the rest is history. So it's been moving up quite nicely, about 75% off those area lows. Good for you, man. I mean, look for resistance over here, of course, into that $45 area. I think you might have resistance between 45 to 50. 50 was a certain level of support all across the mid part of 2024. Look at that, starting in June 2024 and basically going all the way to September, excuse me. We used 50 as support. And then we're kind of looking at resistance over here because of that big drop back in August, mid to late August, when we dropped, you know, from a nice uptrend, 45 all the way down to 22.5. So wishing you the best on this, clearly. Good move on your part and good patience for you to hold it for that long to be up that big. Shout out to you, my man. Ket, copy, paste, up bigly.
Yeah, very bigly on that one.
Who says that?
I wonder. Hit it, man.
I'm trying to get it.
I don't got it.
I'm trying to.
All right, I'll just do this one instead. How come that?
Assassino, how come we can't hear them, brother?
Turn it.
There we go. That's
Turn
we
it
want to
up.
hear Donald. Get it, Donald.
Did you hit it? I didn't hear it.
Which one?
I'm really rich.
Really rich.
Got it.
Don't be
All right.
rude.
There
All
it
right,
is.
guys.
Listen. Hey, listen.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, we don't know that one there. So
What is happening
yeah,
there,
we're gonna
bro?
slap this. We're gonna slap a fail on that one there, Fabian. Sorry. We like the majority of them here, but that one did.
Oh.
Yeah, that one didn't
You're
work
telling the
good.
Chilean
Yeah, I'm
Mary you
sorry,
didn't like
man.
that one, eh?
So I didn't really hear what they were saying, but listen, and now for some exciting news out of Canada for the sophisticated traders on the stream. Beta Pro by Global X Canada, Canada's largest provider of leveraged, inverse and inverse leveraged ETFs, has now just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs, offering 3x bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P and TSX 60, semiconductors, and on U.S. Treasuries. Even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st, 2025. Plus, the U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, offering the potential for pure performance and exposure. If you're a tactical, simple, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance. Check out betapro.ca 3x daily to learn some more. Now, yeah, Richard Evans, to add to your point, brother, that's the exact scenario that I'm sitting in right now. That's just how it goes. Now we're cooking up here in some TSLL, but it's paper. It's paper. It's only paper. But at the end of the day, guys, not too bad of a look. I was just looking at RCAT, a nice channel on the daily. No, not our. Is there a RAM ETF? What would consist? I'm curious as to Ramin.
What would the RAM ETF
consist of? Yeah.
She's got Rivian.
She's got Rivian.
What else she got? She's got NVIDIA, right? Rivian, NVIDIA.
Yeah.
How many do you have, RAM? Just tell me how many you have, and I'll try to guess them. You have 4?
4. Okay, so you got Rivian, NVIDIA, IBIT. That's 3.
You have IBIT? Atta girl.
Yeah, shout out.
I didn't know you had Bitcoin.
You have 5.
She's got 5. Okay.
Apple.
No, she's not about that life. She got NVIDIA.
Give us a clue.
Give us a sector.
Market. She said market.
Fantastic.
All right. Yeah. All
guys,
right, good stuff,
AQMS is breaking out, guys. This is a very aggressive breakout off VWAP. So be on the lookout here. Sorry to interrupt you, Joey.
No, it's all right.
AQMS really going. 875 prior bar low, 964 prior bar high. It tested VWAP, and the buyers were waiting there in spades because they bought this up very aggressively. This candle here has about 220,000 shares. So keep your eye out on this one. It's still putting in higher lows on the current candle, but also has a lower high. It's up 34%. I'm still not seeing anything here on AQMS on my blotter, just short-term events about technical breakouts. It could be sympathy with something else. I'm not really sure. It's a metals name, metals recycling. Focus on commercializing sustainable lithium-ion battery recycling that is non-polluting and closes the loop on critical minerals for clean energy technologies. Okay, I didn't really know that sector was running, but AQMS is moving today, guys. It's quite aggressive in the price action, so make sure you're managing risk over here. Sorry to interrupt you, Joe. So what else she got? What else she got? We talked Bitcoin.
She said markets, yeah, so I think maybe she got the triple Qs in there.
She has SPY. Those are not in the 5?
Starbucks.
She would never buy Starbucks. I could guarantee you that.
But then don't you drink Starbucks?
No. So we got 3. We're trying to guess Ram's portfolio, Katina, man. We guessed 3 of the 5 that she's holding. Portfolio. The Ram ETF, we're calling it. What do you think she got in there? I'll give you 2.
Yeah, she got IBIT in
well
there.
done, Katina, man. Well done. What? Nope.
It's so weird.
It's obscure. She got Rivian, NVIDIA, IBIT. That's the 3 that we know so far, right?
Bitcoin's in there.
IBIT, yeah.
No, but I have BTC and I have.
Oh, she had 2.
Okay, she got to do double
You got
dip.
Bitcoin twice?
But I have it separate.
You Coinbase and then the other one?
Oh.
Okay.
Open door.
No, I shouldn't.
Oh, you didn't buy Open Door?
Shout out to Baby.
You did buy Open Door. Yes, Ram.
Baby and Nose State.
Where's Open Door? Look at this girl's trading now. When did this happen, bro?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
Man.
The last one. Tesla.
Dang, she already got
said
Rivian. She got
Starbucks.
EV exposure. Go.
Seals Corp.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? No, Seals Corp.
Lays?
Yeah.
Well, her brother's an engineer. Okay, I guess that's probably.
She said
Lays. Okay.
Lays chips.
All right. I did not anticipate her to have that kind of exposure. Not bad.
Shout out to
man,
Blue
you're getting
Jays.
love in the chat.
Well,
Ram. People like
see, the thing is,
your
though,
portfolio
Ram's
there.
always at 7-Eleven at 3 in the morning, so I'm not surprised. You may as well own some steak and some things. But no, guys, in all seriousness, let's hop right back into what I was thinking about here with RCAT. No, I don't think that's publicly traded there, Michael Lieb, my friend. So RCAT, I like how we're holding this trend line. If you get an additional touch right here, could be a good opportunity. I think that this sector in general is going to continuously grow. So I'll keep my eyes on this one. And maybe I'll dab a little bit in RCAT there, Sharif, just to get some drone exposure. I remember this was a Canadian company here. This is FLT. No, that's not the one I was looking for. FLT, where is it? It's a Canadian name. Anyways, I'm not going to go too heavy into it. Anyway, it's something that I traded a long time ago.
All right.
Or was it FLV? Anyways, aside from that, guys, I think drones are going to be extremely in play. I know, obviously, it's a little off topic, but Joby, we like this one.
Oh.
And Archer as well, too, ACHR. We like these names, so I think these are going to be some solid opportunities. Now, to kind of just jump ahead into some of the quantum names, is this going to be a good buying opportunity? Possibly. You can see that we have this isolated volume print right here, and then sure enough, you have that indecision candle following. You're down at 1.38% in IonQ, and I think this is going to be the leader of the space. Sorry, I didn't hear you there. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Sharif, what do you got?
All right, Joey, I want to let them know. And now for some exciting news out of Canada for the trade the pool, excuse me. All right, guys, for too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing, that's what kept so many traders on the sidelines, but that's all changing. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets with its limited risk trading model. Traders actually use funded capital while Trade the Pool, they absorb all the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters, the discipline, the consistency, and the growth. When you hit your profit target, you keep up to 70% of your profits. No fears, no barriers, just real opportunities. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, and it's all powered, baby, by Trade the Pool. So visit them right now at tradethepool.com or scan that QR code on the screen to get your 10% off for a free evaluation account. Shout out to the good folks. Trade the Pool. Shout out to Money Mitch, man. Did you know that I accidentally stole his headphones?
Is that what he was looking for?
Yeah,
bro?
dude. They ended up being in my bag, and I thought they were Rams. So I got home, found them in my bag. I take a picture of them. I sent them to Ram. I'm like, are you looking for the mic? I took this by accident.
Yeah.
And she starts laughing. She's like, those are Mitch's.
No.
So I gave it to Brendo, and Brendo's going to mail it back. Brendo, did you mail him back? Is Brendo there?
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, okay, well.
Nice.
He's
Yo, I mean, he cleaned this place up and down looking for those.
I didn't know, bro. I don't even know how they got there, dude. I swear I didn't know.
But you guys had a lot going on this morning, on that morning.
What do you mean? Oh, that was a tough morning. I was sick. I was sick as a dog.
Yeah, and you're
Remember that?
messaging me like, dude, bro, what's your computer's
He was trying to log into your computer where nobody could figure. Anyway, bad times. Bad times. Guys, I got to bring to your attention two very important breakout trades here. BQ is all sorts of insane. It's halting multiple times, so really kind of be careful with BQ. But Bovin's been talking about this one for a while. This is BQ's price action on the day. It's basically doing no volume because it keeps halting. About 1.26 million shares on this name. It's about $16.50 now, having halted there. There are prolonged periods of halts. This is the 5-minute chart, so that's a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25-minute halt on the previous one. So we'll see how long this one lasts. It's up 107%. Be careful with this one. INTS as well, breaking out into highs. It's now taken the dollar, so whoever told me about INTS, good on you. I should have been taking this breakout trade, but I didn't. Here comes into the high of the day, 109. This thing's up 310%, and it's trading at the highs. It's doing all sorts of volume to the tune of 865 million shares so far. So very likely we're going to be closing out that Billy in short order. So keep your eye on this one. I like the 90 penny level as that level of support. If it loses the dollar, I'm going to punch in here at 90. Okay, that's going to be my move. I may front run it at 95, maybe get a little bit more if it dips down into 90. But INTS, one to watch here if you're into the small cap gapper scene. So that is my look there. And then EBS trading right at 1332. We've got a sell order here at 33s. We're long at 93. So let's look for that continuation. It's a triple top now on the 5-minute chart on EBS. So no continuation yet. And then last but not least, Viking Therapeutics. We got the beak wet there. Bless you, Joey. Right into 88s. Alas, it is coming back down now into the 10 exponential moving average. We've got on 39s on this one. So my move here will be break even on the last remaining amount. If it does pull back in, I want to say $38 to about $38.15, I'm going to add more because that is the volume weighted average price and it found support there earlier. So that is going to be my move on Viking Therapeutics, up a nice 10%. All class Adam joining us in the chat back from vacation. Shout out to the dude. Anybody know the Blue Jays score last night? Asking for a friend. This guy, bro. I love this guy, man. He knows how to pump you up and make you feel good, eh? He wants us to bring in the good news. The fact of the matter is, Joey, we're one win away from bringing that trophy north of the border.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing a lot of
Closes.
a lot of discontent with the fact that it might be coming back north of the border with the folks south of the border.
They're not happy?
They're not happy about it, Joey.
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, Sharif, the way life goes is that you can't make everybody happy, so you just essentially have to live in your own world. But what is going to make me happy is going over these expected moves on the earnings calls tonight. We got an additional star-studded lineup. Last night was phenomenal. For some reason, I'm getting the feeling that it's Friday.
Okay.
It's not, though. It's Friday Junior. And with that comes some big-time moves.
More tariffs.
And
someone wrote more tariffs.
With what?
If we
yeah, that is crazy. Anyway,
that's crazy.
Aside from that, guys, we have an additional star-studded lineup. Amazon, Apple, Coin, Reddit, MicroStrategy, Rocket Companies, Western Digital, Cloudflare, Roku, Riot. Oh my days. We got a lot going on here, so we got a big time list. I'm gonna put this off to the side, and with that being said, let's go over our expected moves for tonight's earnings report. Now, as for Apple, 3.2%. Is it going to exceed that or not? But that's going to put us at a high of around $280 and a low of around $260. Now, who's next up on the docket? That's going to be Amazon. So shout out to me for buying it at 213 and getting rid of it at 222 and then rotating into a ridiculous, uncomfortable amount of IBIT calls. Great call, Joseph. Good job.
Get it, Joey.
All right. So now as for this expected move, we're looking at 6.2% roughly. That's going to put us at a high of around $240 and a low of around $212. Moving on to the next one.
What are you moving on
I think
to?
the much anticipated Coinbase. With a 6.7% expected move with a high of around 361.22 and a low of around 315.84. Katina, man, do you own any Coinbase? He does not. All right, so now on to Reddit. Yeah, exactly. Next question. Reddit. I think this name has been on him. Pardon me?
Oh, no, I was just saying Reddit and forget it.
Oh yeah, Reddit and forget
Sorry,
it. I know what you're getting. I know what kind of you're getting at there. But 14%, guys. 229 is going to be that high. 229.26 with a low of around 172.89. Now let's take a look at some of the IVs at those at the money strikes, just to see if anything is like, hey, what's going on there, and if we have any high levels of open interest that can act as potential targets and/or call walls. So expiring tomorrow, that's going to be Halloween, October 31st. Are you going to have you gone to Casa Loma? Have you ever done the Halloween thing?
I've never done that there. No,
it's
but
fun.
my sister had her pictures for her wedding there.
Yeah,
That was the last time I was there.
I went there last year. It was fun. Yeah, it's a good time.
Nice.
All right, back to the market, just like that. 270.
What do they do there, if you don't mind my asking?
So it's like
they make it all scary?
Yeah. So it's
Live
like
actors?
Yeah, so they got a couple of them, not too many. But the middle of it, I think just like the hall there, they turn into kind of like a dance party, and they have the bar.
Cool.
Yeah, so like you do
That's
half of the kind of the run through in the haunted house.
What kind of scene, if you don't mind my asking?
It's obviously like yeah. I mean, I mean, you're drinking.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but
I mean,
it's 19 and over.
Yeah, so obviously, I'm not out there, but I'm not trying to get an average. You know what I mean? So it's probably around the younger crowd. But I like to think I can hang out with them. But no, it's a good time. They got the music going on. Do the monster mash and do all that stuff there. You know what I mean?
You did the mash.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the monster mash.
All right, guys, let's take a look at some of this open interest at 270, where that's the closest to at the money right now. 272.5 is going to be that next level. But you can see that concentration here on Apple. It is relatively cool, but the options market pricing in the expected move, 77.3% implied volatility at the money. So that's going to be at 270. And then let's take a look at Amazon and Coin. Again, I'm going to suspect that Coin's IV is going to be a little bit higher, but first let's take a look at Amazon. So 155%. That's up there. So you're going to be paying out the wazoo for some implied volatility, but at that 230 strike price, we have 28,700 contracts currently open with 17,000 traded on the session. And then 240, that's where, not even. Okay, so this might be in the works. Keep an eye out for 240. And if you have the ability to break through that, the next level I believe is going to be 250, as obvious as that may seem. But if AWS comes in on a beat, I like our chances on that one. So 230, 28,000, and then 250, we have 37,000. Now let's go over to Coin, because I think this at the money IB is going to be higher than most. 157,000, bang. Oh, if only I was a gambling man, Sharif. So there it is. 355, 27.8 thousand contracts still currently open. look out for that potential level to come into play. And as for the puts, I'm not seeing anything substantial just yet, guys.
All right, Joe, sounds good, sounds good. I don't know why I didn't get filled on this. It's kind of disappointing. I had my order at 95s. It clearly wicked below 95, probably an area of illiquidity here on INTS, but that's all right. I don't think we're too far away from it here. Looking at getting in a little bit more. I just want to know if it's going to dip down. Maybe we get a little bit of a better price. INTS, we got 04s on, but I like this one all the way into 90. I find that there's a good level of support there. So we're going to look to punch in a little bit here. What's happening here? Why isn't it letting me into INTS? Give me a second here. Okay, let's go to Adair. Let me figure out what's going on with my platform.
You just keep an eye here on AstraZeneca. Apparently, one of their treatments is showing, quote, significant and meaningful improvements in certain scores at week 26 and early improvements from week 1 in adults. So I guess positive trial results here for one of their treatments, AZN, on watch. I also want to mention here, META, we're just reporting that their $25 billion mega bond sale has drawn record $125 billion worth of demand. So META with that bond sale. Nice look here off the lows for Meta, guys. Back to you.
I like that a lot. I know Travman's involved in some contracts there, so congratulations on that, especially if you caught it anywhere around the lows. Even 660 was a pretty good level to catch it off of, so not too bad. 679, 67. You all right?
Oh, that was a sick ad on Meta.
Oh, yeah, on your thing?
I had it twice.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
All right, man. Good job there. I mean, we talk about this name from a daily perspective. You can't go wrong, right? So look at this. Look how this is closing. This is a thing of beauty. So once again, wait for that pullback, and then we might get involved. So what was the low of the session? 650. And now you're trading
almost on the dot.
Yeah, exactly. 650 almost to the penny there, and then now you're trading up to 680 roughly. So I mean, that's 30 points just like that. Congratulations, Trav, man. I don't know how many contracts you grabbed or anything along those lines, but congratulations to you, man. We'll give a cheers, Apple cheers up on that one. So again, that gap will get filled eventually because I don't believe that Meta is going to continuously sell off aggressively considering that one-time hit. But CapEx is up. Did the street love that? And I was saying this to Sharif earlier in the day. Is he going to get a little bit overly obsessive compulsive in the fact of like CapEx spending? We know what he did with the metaverse. Maybe, maybe not. I want to see what the other hyperscalers are doing with their CapEx to see if he's kind of in line with that.
And you and I talk about this all the time. Yeah. I don't think we're going to get if there's an AI bubble, we're not going to have it telegraphed, but there will be hints. You're going to see the hints in the slowdown of the CapEx, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to see it, right? And that's the thing. But I don't even want to draw parallels to the dot-com bubble. And you and I have talked about this, and I really want it for two reasons. One, those companies weren't making money. The ones here are. Number two, I don't think you lay the foundation for the internet in the same way that you have to constantly upgrade your equipment for AI. Every year, NVIDIA is dropping a new GPU. And every year, the software demand is going to be increased on the hardware. So you're going to be caught in a constant upgrade cycle. You're not doing that generally for the internet bill. Sure, you're upgrading your cloud computers and you're doing a whole bunch of stuff like that, but the foundation I don't think is the same. And I think you're going to continue to get CapEx. Maybe not in the same way that we're getting it right now. Certainly not, because you've got to build out data centers. You don't have to build out those twice. You don't have to build out the energy infrastructure twice. But the actual GPUs themselves, the computers, you're going to have to constantly upgrade every year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I agree.
And so that's kind of why I feel it's a little bit different.
It will cool down eventually at one point, but I don't think anytime soon.
Yeah, well, for sure. Yeah.
Not anytime soon.
No question about it. All right, let's bring in EBS over here because we're doing it live on EBS. We're looking for more here. It just got into 1335. We've got 93s on. I've got my next profit taker at 40s. Good flat top break here, accruing at, I want to say, the third of a dollar. At 1333, 35, generally in that third of a dollar area. We've got higher lows as well, so this leads me to believe, that it will resolve likely to the upside because of the higher lows. So I like the look of this one's jib. Let's see if we can kind of get some more. We still have shares to take out here on EBS. We also weaseled into INTS. For the dollar hold. So I've got several different levels that I liked. As I mentioned, obviously I like the area highs, but I wanted to see if it was going to hold at the dollar. So we took some at the dollar, and now I've got a planned DCA as well to defend 90 pennies. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on here in INTS. It's up 274%. but we know it's a critical level where it's at right now because the dollar, it's a different trade north and south of a dollar. So let's see if this one can resolve to the high side and hold that dollar area. Let's read some of the comments coming in from you guys. Jacques, Joseph, Sharif, I fear that another company no one heard of comes up with a killer LLM or better chips from nowhere. I'm expecting the Chinese to throw their hat into the ring, if not this year, then next year. There's many technical barriers that they face, but I do anticipate that they're going to have a response to NVIDIA and the American companies, just a matter of time. Ichiro, Sharif, that's why Windows sends out updates that bricks computers, well said, planned obsolescence, baby. So many of my friends thought we needed to buy a new computer. Yeah, dude, I couldn't agree with you more, Ichiro, and you know, that's kind of I feel the difference between drawing parallels between the dot-com boom and the AI age. I think there is just so much value to be gained from AI. It's going to be in everything. We're not even going to be talking about AI as a standalone thing. It's going to be ensconced in everything that we do and all the apps that we use and all the services that we have. So
it already is from a day-to-day basis,
almost,
especially if you're
dude.
like
Yeah.
if you're already using it for something. It's like, okay, someone asked me a question, and I'm like, okay, why don't you just ask ChatGPT? It's probably going to give you a better answer anyways. So I think just the fact that it's on our handheld devices, it's already going to be integrated into our day-to-day lives.
And by the way, I
use
use
every
the
day.
AI on the new thing. So Apple AI, as we know, sucks. But what it does is allows you just to click to use
actually- that's what I've been- yeah, I've
ChatGPT,
been
which is
using that.
fantastic because
Yeah.
I get the answer I wanted. And so
Serious.
to me, it works out fine.
Silliness. Yeah, again, it's like, it even asked you, said, hey, would you want me to ask ChatGPT?
Yeah,
I'd be like, yeah,
exactly.
preferred. Yeah, I don't even want to speak to you,
I'd
really.
rather not even it ask me. Just get to
just
the
get straight to the point. You know what I mean?
Ozan, great point, Ozan. GPU is okay, but CUDA, which is their software, of course, the game changer for NVIDIA. Until now, no one was able to do that. You're absolutely right. And I think that's the point that Katina Man was bringing in yesterday. They lock you in with their software, with their sort of like the way that Apple does with
Their
retail, right?
ecosystem.
They kind of just get you in with many different services. We see this with in everything. We see it with Pandub as well. Platformization. What's Pandub doing? It's giving you all the different facets of IT or cybersecurity, but all in one, so you don't have to go to many different providers. We see that with almost everything. It's margin expanding. I don't anticipate that that will be different with any, but again, it's still predicated upon no one achieving what NVIDIA is able to do. And I think that that's an untenable position because there's so much margins that they have available for disruption, okay? Other companies are salivating at NVIDIA's margins, man. You know, they're probably working overtime to eat some of those margins. So I definitely think that there's going to be something there.
Hold on,
Whether or
Steve,
not
I think
if it
there's an,
tanks
there's an
NVIDIA.
IPO open there.
Yeah, I got it right here.
NAVN?
Right here it
Okay,
is. Go,
bang.
guys. IPO open. NAVN opens at 22 on the dot. We're still holding here 22. There's a buyer at 5s. He's got. So keep your eye here on NAVN. It's already printed 3.4 million shares, boys. So NAVN, excuse me, NAVN. There it goes, guys, right up into the area highs, into about 22.75. I didn't give you any information on this one about what the IPO price was. So the IPO is at $25 a share. It opened low, and that's why you're seeing a negative there. It opened at $22 a share. The IPO was priced at $25 a share, having sold almost 37 million shares, 36.9, okay? So it's already opening low. By virtue of that, to me, I'm not looking at this one. It looks like it's going to lose 22 any moment here as the buyers step in to pick it up at 22, but it does look like there's an aggressive sell coming in. You can see that on the time and sales. A lot of red, a lot of yellow. Look for blue as well. Blue means under the bid. So that usually is a bit of a hat tipper to the fact that the sellers are in control. So NAVN, guys, looking like a short, but I don't really tell you how to trade. Joey.
All right, guys. Yeah, so I mean, there it is on TSLL to the top side. Right off of those lows, you're heading right back into the volume-weighted average price, so keep an eye out on that one. If this resistance zone is broken, then I like our chances. Also, keep your eyes on the tape. We can put in a filter here as well, too, just to see what we got going on. Considering it's a 3x or 2, whatever it may be, leveraged ETF, I don't even know. I trade it every day, and I forget sometimes. But there it is. You want to put that filter on substantially higher. 1,000 shares won't do anything. So, yeah, this is going to help you a lot. It's going to determine whether or not you're going to have a ladder on either side of the book, which I think is extremely important. Well, what is a ladder going to tell us? That there's demand through that specific levels and increasing at the immediate ask for bids. So boom, once that zone is hit, then you can suspect it to hit the additional one. So right now it seems relatively balanced, and you can see that reflected within the price action, slightly choppy. And that's why you want to keep your eyes on the tape. At times it can be misleading, right? The tape will be, oh, you get these flushes here and there at the bid, below the bid, and at the ask, above the ask. But if you focus on it in key moments and at key levels and at key times, then it can tell you a lot. And it's really, really important. For me personally, I think Sharif likes to use the book more than I personally do. I like the tape. And Obi likes the book as well, too.
Yep.
So you got to find something, your own little niche, and something that works for you at the end of the day. And just continuously build off of it, build off of it, and build off of it. Now, let's get back into some of our earnings reports as well. We already went over Reddit, guys. There was a couple more names that I wanted to go through on the options chain. I don't think we went over Reddit on that, so we'll do that right now. I had it pulled up, and I'm glad that I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat talking about their printing pretty heavily on the meta contract. So congratulations to you. We'll slap the bang, and then we'll hit this as well too. So pretty good look. But also, I think so now to Reddit, guys. I think the fact that the at-the-money IV is so substantially high that it's going to be cool within the open interest in the volume, right? So that's cool. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. But no, in all seriousness, that's really high, and I think you're going to be paying a lot. It's so dangerous by just being directionally biased leading into earnings, especially with options contracts, because the individuals are smart. They're going to price it in, and if you don't exceed that, then you're going to be, I'm not going to say worlds of trouble, but you have to start thinking about risk measures and hedging against that, because from day after day after the earnings report, especially if you exceed that expected move, you're going to get the dwindling and decay with an implied volatility, and that's going to be priced out of your options contracts. So not only are you worrying about theta and time decay, you have volatility decay, which can be equal and if not more of a killer. Bang, there. Let's see if we can catch this fill on TSLL. Aside from that, I wanted to pull up one more thing. There's a couple more names that I wanted to go over, and we'll go through those expected move. Also, check out Adara, Trader TV Live Research. She posts all the earnings reports and their expected moves as well, too. So if you guys are really curious about that, go check out Adara's posts. They're always fantastic. Oh, Sharif, how could I ever forget about this individual? It's Mr. Michael Saylor and Company. Strategy.
What happened?
I don't know why the thing hasn't changed here. It's reporting after the bell.
So, yes, we already looked at it, remember? Oh, but you didn't look at the options.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We didn't do the old options there. 109% at the money IV. Again, from an open interest standpoint, it looks like 290 is going to be, so 307 is going to be that highest level. Let's pull up the actual underlying asset and see where we're currently trading at right now. And I remember somebody this morning was asking me, Joe, why is MicroStrategy dead? Well, I mean, when Bitcoin's ETF here, even a little bit more, considering you need Bitcoin to appreciate in order for MicroStrategy to continue on its path. If it does not, then essentially what Michael Saylor's got going on does not work. And I mentioned this not too long ago, that downtrend's still fully intact, and you're headed towards some key support levels around 237. I would keep an eye out on for that. If you do head into that level, it might be a bad time. But there it is on MicroStrategy. Let's take a look at BMNR before we send it over to Sharif to see what its pal's up to. Starting to head towards some key support levels as well, too. Not too good look in the crypto space.
The Katina man is short NAVN, guys. He's got shorts on NAVN. He's printing on that. Look at the 22 break and look at the lower lows and the lower highs. We're at the low of day, Katina man. It looks like that $0.50 is about to give way over here as the sellers really accelerate to the downside. Take a look at the left side of the screen. A lot of red, a lot of yellow. Keep your eye out on the blue. Usually the blue is indicative of aggressive selling, and here comes more selling into the $0.50. All the prints coming in at 50. I haven't seen anything at 49 quite yet, but it looks like it's a hidden buyer there hanging out at the 21.5, but the size is getting decimated from what we can see on the gateways at that $0.50. It's going to break 15s, more coming in there. So as people get back in, keep your eye though on NAVN, the Katina man shorting that one. one. It's down 14% from the IPO price. He already covered some there. So get some there, Katina man, get it. All right, here's the deal. EBS, 1341 high, crosses our print, doesn't print us as a result of the spread, drops into the 20 and 13. I punch more. We're going to give this one to basically 97. So it's going to have to hold this area. Otherwise, we're going to get stopped out for the remaining amount, which is exactly what happened there. All good. Probably should have given it a bit more room given the spread. So I'm going to watch intently here to see if it does find support at the 20-period moving average on the 5-minute chart. If it does, I'm going to get back in. So I'm keeping an eye here on EBS, looking for another move up. What else we got, man? We got INTS, still holding on to this one, showing me 95s. We've got $1, but we still didn't get that print at 90. So if this one starts curling back up, I'm going to get in a little bit higher because it's not printing my DCA into 90s. And look at it rocket back up into 95, 96 now. So might have missed that one for the ad there. Jameson saying BlackBerry long. Say it ain't so. BlackBerry. Let's have a look.
Staying so.
We're going to start the news soon too, Joey, because it's almost like 10-2. BB, well, BB's up 1%. I don't know what you're seeing, brother. I mean, it's up on the day, 1.04%. It's not exactly rocketing up, 494 high a day. Resistance there, dipping back down into 88s. I don't see anything on BlackBerry here, not for me anyway. I mean, maybe you've got something that you can finagle with this one, but that's not my my kind of trade, BlackBerry. Thanks for that. That BQ one that I told you guys about still halted to the upside, by the way, having halted, I believe, at 1222. It's almost 1250, and it's still halted. So be on the lookout here for BB. It's up 107%, but certainly, you know, a very, very prolonged halt. Maybe we'll take a quick gander there, Joey, to see what the TAP, the theoretical auction price is. BQ on the NQ.
Okay.
Nope, lied. Where is this hot garbage trade? Sorry. Amex. Tell you how I really feel, right, Katina man? All right, it's on the Amex network. So that's useless to us because we won't be able to see anything on the Amex because you will not be able to see the theoretical auction price unless you're trading on the Nasdaq. Neither the NYSE nor the Amex networks will allow you to see the TAP. So that will just show us the price at which it halted, not the actual theoretical auction price. EBS is really losing the bid here, man. So I'm really happy with my out. Look at, oh, I'm short too. And we're going to make money on the short. How about that? Look at the move right down into EBS here, Joey. We get out at 1295. It tanks all the way down to 1260. I got to tell you, though, 1250 VWAP. So look out for possible support at the volume weighted average price. It's already putting in a green candle here. So yeah, possibly you might have missed that. Last but not least, I want to bring your attention to AQMS. This one, very volatile, up 34 or thereabouts %. But it is finding a nice little uptrend here at 9.25, excuse me, and that's going to be my invitation to work into this one. Let's just take a quick look here. Yeah, we're going to get in on this one. The break of 9 ends the trade, so let's go ahead and put that one on there. We're going to look for continuation, possibly up into that 9 2/3, which is the high of the day. Pack in the patience. Let's go ahead. What do we get? We got 22s, Joey. Okay, we're going to post at 30, and then we're going to post at 38. So we'll see if we can get a nice price spike up there and a nice big move here on AQMS. Anything below 9 ends the trade for me. INTS. Keeping an eye on this one, looking for a move back above $1. We got 01s. Here comes 99s. So it's a great hold off the 90 penny area. But what displeases me greatly is the fact that it didn't get any there. So that's the situation. Now it's going to have to work its way above $1. I'm still seeing lower highs, so let's not, get too excited. We got to break through that lower high pattern that we've been putting since, I want to say, the candle, the topping tail candle at 1225. So that's keeping us a little bit down. Shout out to Pac-Man LV. Thanks for joining, brother. 2 New York cents. Yes, Lumen, LUMN reports after the bell. It's holding VWAP all day today. Any thoughts on this, Sean, Katina, or Sharif? Let's have a look at LUMN for the OG. 2 New York cents. LUMN. You were talking about this one after the bell, weren't you? There we go. Yeah, the Katina Man's printing up a storm on NAVN. Shout out to you, Katina Man. That was a good one. The fact that it opened up below the... Assassino, if you can show the Katina Man screen. Great look there, Katina Man. Good breakdown. Where'd you take short? Below 22? As soon as it broke 22. Say it again? He had to find shorts
How
and
much
pay
you
for
pay
them,
for
so
those?
that takes some time there.
How much you pay for those, Katina, man? Hey, hold on. We can't disclose that. We can't disclose that. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. No, but and the fact of the matter is, it's like one of the best prices around. He paid $3 for 100 shares. I mean,
man, we can disclose that. We can disclose that.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of the best prices around, bro.
Some of the best
prices around, Joey. There's no question about that.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
There goes AQMS, guys, into an area high. We have several prints. We got 22s on, show me 36, but we got the beak wet at 44s. Looking for more, man. Let's post up some north of 50 and then some north of 60 as well. Because, well, you know how this one does. It's going to price spike up quite aggressively. And then if you know we're in the 60s, where we will be waiting. So AQMS, Joey, up 34%. What do you got so I can set up for the...
Just messaging. Yeah, go ahead, do your thing. Yeah, I have to continue to do the same things, Carter. Again, I have probably the same expiration cycle. I think it's like May 19th or something along those lines for those IBIT contracts. I sold in November, whatever, the second week of November. I sold those contracts, collected a little bit under than $400. So hopefully those are expiring worthless. I mean, we're already collected 50% of the premium, which is pretty good. I could close those now and then drop this strike increment a couple of points and collect significantly more with the same expiration cycle. So I like that one there. But as for some of the earnings reports, guys, we're catching fills on TSLA again off of the bottom. Not quite at the volume weighted average price, but there's that move to the top side right there. Boom, boom. You can see it on the good old screen. 2020, shout out to that year. And then also 2083. I had a great time. And even though it was lockdown, it was a pretty good time in the COVID era.
Really,
but
yeah?
Yeah, I had a pretty good time.
That's good.
Those
were not good times for me.
I'm a homebody, man. So again, just I'm locked up.
Yeah.
Other than the waiting in the lines, I'm probably the most impatient individual on the planet, and waiting in lines was like, oh, it was not a good time. All right, but options. Guys, here it is, the expected move on Roku. Where did my I got so many tabs open now. Shout out that I use Google Chrome because I couldn't have done that with my other ones. Okay, so now we're good to go on Roku. Guys, we're gonna look at Riot here momentarily. We've got a 12.4% expected move with a high of around $114.58 and a low of around $89. That's Roku. It actually performs pretty good once in a blue moon. As for Riot here, Riot Platforms, you got an 8.7% expected move with a high of around $22.97 and a low of around $19.29. We'll do one more, and that's going to be Net, aka Cloudflare. And see when that one's up to 10.3% expected move, 252.95 with a low of around 205. Now let's take a look at the technicals on some of these names. Most likely going to be Riot and Roku. What we'll take a look at right now, considering that's not the tab that I'm looking for. All right, let's get out of this. Riot. For all my Marvel fans you know who Riot is. All right, so there it is, guys. So Riot, not too bad. I think that this performs significantly better than what Mara typically does. I mean, we experienced that breakout. Shout out to Pathic in the chat. I know you've been an advocate of this for quite some time. You did get that breakout, but it's unfortunate that you just come right back into the middle of the zone and that range. That's not fun. You're down 21% off of those highs. It is a little bit cheaper of a stock, but maybe it will get going. But I think in order for Mara and some of these other Bitcoin miners to really get a move going, you're going to need to see Bitcoin maybe double at that point. I don't know. I'm just kind of speaking out the wazoo. But now as for Roku, daily chart, typically not horrible, not great either. I mean, you get this big time sell-off. This is COVID era stuff. You double top up there at the peak, or I mean in the middle of the year of 21, and then essentially you have not recovered from those specific zones. So you're down 79% from that peak to where we're currently trading at. That's not good, and it's typically not a fun time either. So keep an eye out on that. Yeah, I can see.
I need to take another look.
Yeah, that's crazy. I told you on.
That's crazy.
I told you on. Don't.
What?
Are you gonna screenshot it? You screenshot it? You don't know me.
Hoax.
Yeah. All right. So as for Twilio, guys, here. You can
see there, bro.
That's crazy.
Holy.
That made your day, didn't it? 73% off of those peaks. We'll take a look at the expected move on TWLO as well to see what's going on that front. What are you laughing at?
I like this guy in the chat. Secrets don't make friends.
Yeah, they do.
I like that. I like that.
10.8% expected move. 126 is that high, and then 101 is going to be that low on Twillo, Sharif. Let's rock and roll on the news.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We're just posting up some here. INTS right back above $1. Here we go. Let's look for continuation. There was a monster seller at 101. He got removed, but there's still a whole bunch of selling. 104 now has got a monster seller. So keep your eye on this one. I'm looking for a curl back up. High a day 110. Let's see if it can squeeze $0.25 ideally. INTS up 285%. Keeping my eye on this one. Quickly before we go back or start the news, excuse me, keeping my eye on AQMS. Anything below 9 ends this trade for me. I'm looking for continuation, and the 10 EMA is above 9, so it's got to hold the 10 EMA. Otherwise, I want nothing to do with it. Let's go ahead and start talking about Alphabet. What a move up for goggles yesterday. Still up 4% despite the fact that the NQ's down 0.75%. And this is some eye-watering revenue, Joseph. $102.35 billion in revenue, beating easily the 99.89 expected by analysts in the street. What a move. EPS coming in at 310. The street was looking for 233, almost a $1 beat there, and a marked increase year over year on the quarter. Just sorry, I got to digress because INTS is really going over here, so we got to put some prints as well near that level. Advertising revenue, something very important, obviously, for Google. The majority of their money is made through advertising. $74.18 billion. That's up from the $65.85 billion they printed a year ago. And their net income as a result is now $34.97 billion on the quarter. That's not on the year, and that's not revenue. That's profit, and that's on the quarter. I'm making the call now. I told Joseph yesterday, Google is going to overtake Apple in market cap by next year. That is my call. YouTube sales, $10.25 billion, beating the $10 billion expected. And this is very important here for Google. Google Cloud continues to grow aggressively, 35% year over year on the quarter growth, now taking home $15.15 billion in revenue. Again, easily beating the 14.75 expected by the street. And look at this number, Joseph. Not like they weren't printing enough money.
Yeah.
They have a $155 billion backlog in cloud demand that they can't fill because they can't get enough chips. And we keep hearing that. We heard that from Oracle. We hear it from other hyperscalers. And they have more $1 billion contracts signed in 2025 than in the 2 previous years combined. 70% of their clients as well using Google Cloud are using Gemini AI products, so looking to expand that moat. Now, let's talk about the CapEx, right? Because we always want to talk about CapEx to see if the AI bubble is coming to a head. Well, guess what? They raised their CapEx, 91 to 93 billion, how much money they're going to spend this year on capital expenditures. They were guiding 75 to 85, so a marked increase there. And they say the CapEx is going to continue to increase significantly, their words, not mine, in 2026. So you know at least for the next calendar year, there's going to be more spending on CapEx. Last but not least here, Joey, search revenue, 15% year over year, and their other bets, including their Waymos and whatever, 344 million in revenue. That's surprisingly down year over year from 388, and they're continuing to lose money on that as well, $1.42 billion loss.
Yeah. I mean, I think
which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine, Sharif. I think we know for a couple more years, they're not going to be profitable, right? Like, I think this is still complete beta mode for Waymo and a lot of these other, obviously, autonomous vehicles. So, again, 2030, you're looking for them to start turning a profit. They obviously need to increase the geofence as well, too, Sharif. You need to get into more cities, lesser dense areas as well, too. They're starting to do that. I know Zoox is starting to head into San Francisco. They're in Vegas.
Joey,
go ahead.
Interrupt. Something's going on with Adobe, guys. Adobe's dropping here. There's a price spike down on Adobe. So keep your eye out on that. I don't have any news on my blotter to explain the price spike on Adobe, but it's dropping down significantly. Sorry to interrupt you, Joe.
No. Let's pull up the chart here and take a look at what Adobe's up to. Also, quick thing on Google, guys. YouTube offering voluntary buyouts on U.S.-based employees as company reorganize around AI, reports CNBC. Obviously, it's voluntary right now until it's not, until they kick you out of the door and give you a pay package.
What's wrong, Neil?
Adara, yeah, let's go to Adara.
I have the headline here on Adobe. We have Canva, of course, a competitor of Adobe that we've discussed on this show before, making their Affinity software free. Now, this is viewed as another challenge to ADBE, which we know, again, Canva and Adobe have been discussed before on this show and just in general as competition for one another. Adobe going right on this. ADBE, as you can see here over the last couple of days, has been kind of volatile as well to the upside or downside, but either way, ADBE dropping here. I'm seeing this headline suggesting that Canva is making it software free. Back to you.
All right, yeah, cool. I mean, Fabian loves Adobe, but yeah, I like what Ichiro says here. Reality is catching up to Adobe. The AI game just makes it a little bit too easy. Yeah. But as for Google, Sharif, we know what's going on. CapEx is going to be continuously spent. YouTube, the best streaming platform on the planet right now, and Waymo is definitely a big-time competitor with Tesla's, Elon Musk, Tesla's robotaxi.
Absolutely, well said, Joey. All right, Adara, Adobe absolutely destroying, sorry, not Adobe, Google destroying revenue. What do you make of this whole thing?
No, I think with Alphabet, it's interesting, and I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because a lot of what I have to say about Alphabet is going to relate to my thoughts on Microsoft and Meta, specifically with regards to CapEx. I find it interesting how the market interprets CapEx spending. So we had Google, of course, initially gapped up in this report, coming back down now, but they raised their CapEx fairly significantly for fiscal 2025. Meanwhile, the other two Mag 7s that reported last night that we're going to discuss also raised their CapEx, or in Meta's case, they raised the lower end of their CapEx guide, and the market didn't seem to like that. So I don't know, kind of food for thought. I don't have an opinion on it out and out because I want to wait for more info to see how analysts react to this, et cetera. But either way, I find it pretty interesting. We have all three companies to some extent guiding higher CapEx, though Google's, I would say, was probably the least vague of the three. And yeah, this is the only one that had at least early a nice positive reaction. So some food for thought.
Thank you very much, Adara. All right, let's go on to the next topic. Sorry, just throwing out some orders over here on these bad boys. Let's talk about that other hyperscaler. Oh, yeah, Microsoft, another $5 trillion company, or was anyway. Where's it at right now, Joey? We're going to find out. It's at 3.9. Sorry, I said 5 trillion. I meant 4.
Like,
sorry, my bad.
What did I miss out on there? I'm like, damn.
Yeah, this one moved the trilly that quick. No, seriously, though. So EPS easily beating there, 372. The street wanted 366. Revenue, not as good as Google's, of course, but good margins. 77.67 billion in revenue, beating the 75 and a third expected, and they increased that top line number by 18% year over year. Net income, another eye-watering number here for profitability, $27.7 billion in profit on the quarter, up from 24.67 last year. CFO Amy Hood talking about what Adara just spoke about there. Capital expenditures, she said, will accelerate this fiscal year to meet AI infrastructure demand. We didn't see any of the three hyperscalers say they were going to spend any less yesterday. That's what I took away from that. They did also record a $3.1 billion hit to their net income as a result of their investment tied to OpenAI. That's about 41 pennies per share if you're trying to do the math for EPS. Let's talk about their different, Azure, because that's where their highest margin product is. Intelligent Cloud grew almost 28% year over year now, almost $31 billion, topping estimates of 30 and a quarter. Azure revenue, 40% year over year growth on Azure, beating the 38.2 forecast, outpacing AWS, outpacing Google Cloud. You wouldn't think that this was like the incumbent, bro. You'd think that Google Cloud was, the sort of the disruptor. The incumbent is printing higher percentage year over year than the other two.
Yeah.
I mean,
from a growth standpoint.
From a growth,
right? Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
40% year over
That's
year.
Crazy. What was it previous quarter? I thought we were in the teens. I thought it was teens. I thought the previous.
I remember
quarter,
AWS was the slowest of the three last time.
It was the slowest of the three, and I believe a couple quarters ago we were like, oh yeah, this is sick, 13, 14% growth.
Yeah.
Now you're coming in at 40%, so you're almost doubling.
We're talking about Azure growth, right?
Yeah, from last year.
So from last year, I thought you meant last quarter because I have last quarter, but I don't have last.
Do you have last quarter, Dara?
Yeah, so last quarter Azure growth 39%.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, I mean,
same thing.
There you go, same thing.
Let's talk about this. So they actually, Azure and related services generated $75 billion, but that's not for the quarter. That's for full year 2025. That's up 34%, and their fiscal Q2, they're guiding, guys, 79.5 to 80, almost 80.5 billion dollars in total revenue. That was in line with expectations. Now, why did this thing come down? Well, there's many different reasons, but one of them could be the exclusive partnership that they have with OpenAI. Listen to this, Joey. They invested $130 billion. They recently completed a $130 billion restructuring, granting Microsoft a 27% stake into OpenAI. So they own more than a quarter. That is now about $135 billion, so they're already up $5 billion on that. And let's get to the real stuff now.
All right, let's do it.
This morning, Squawk Box, Becky Quick, talking about the Reuters reporting that the wheels are in motion at OpenAI to start getting the IPO ready for next year. And do you want to guess, Joseph, what valuation they're speaking about currently? It could change. $1 trillion valuation for the IPO. It's insane. It will be a record. It'll definitely be a record.
That is most definitely a record.
Of course it's a record.
But do you think because they're for so essentially when I was listening to Vlad Tenev on the All In, he's saying for him to tokenize OpenAI was more difficult because it's for nonprofit. Do you think that's going to be any form of issue?
They're going to have to get their nonprofit status taken care of. So I'm assuming all that gets taken care of.
Well, taken care of is just money. It's just money. So they're going to just have to pay.
They have to change their legal status from a
which is money at the end of it. It's just going to cost them a pretty penny, is what I'm getting.
Legally.
Legally. Essentially what I get. They can get it done. It's just going to cost them a bunch of money.
I don't know how much, but I'm assuming yes. It's probably not.
But isn't like SpaceX and all some of these private companies? Isn't the total valuation around like 1.7 trillion? Or there's like SpaceX, OpenAI, and a couple of them. So there it is. If these guys IPO, I think this is going to be, it could be the biggest trade that we've seen in a significant amount of time. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Sharif, we're seeing these hyperscalers on a quarter-over-quarter, on a year-over-year basis, increase the CapEx spending. Would we ever see that, like, so one quarter they're like, hey, that's it, we're not going to be spending as much. Would you see that number cut in half? Do you think that could be ever cut in half?
That's what we talked about. Like the canary, that's going to be the canary in the coal mine. Like the AI trade is not going to unwind overnight. You're going to have hints of it. How? You look at the hyperscalers, how much they're spending.
At the capital expenditure. Exactly. So once you start to see that decay in the capital expenditure,
the market will react immediately.
Immediately. Yeah. So they will bake that out as soon as those reports.
100% I agree.
As soon as those reports come out.
100%.
And is it going to be as rough as we potentially think it can be? Absolutely. But as for these major cloud names, the CapEx is there, the demand is there, they have spillover, there's excess demand sending over to Oracle. So I'm curious to see if there's so much demand within the major cloud providers, how are the smaller ones going to start to perform? Are other major investors going to start looking in the snowflakes and other potential companies? Maybe, possibly. I think so, especially if these guys can't keep up with the demand.
Right. I agree with that. Let's just finish the last part over here. So let's bring in the CapEx here. So for Microsoft, they're rising CapEx. Q1, they're guiding about $35 billion for CapEx in Q1 of next year. They guided last time $30 billion. And Amy Hood, the CFO, she's expecting for 2026 full year to exceed 2025, revising her earlier forecast of a moderation. So they're definitely looking for more money to be spent next year than last year. So we're not definitely getting any hints of it now. All right, Adair, you brought in the CapEx argument earlier. What do you make of Microsoft's CapEx given Amy Hood's comments?
Yeah, I think I mentioned here with the CapEx, I think it's interesting that they guide higher CapEx, though admittedly the guidance was kind of vague, like, oh, it'll just be higher. But again, so did Google. Google's up, Microsoft's down. What's interesting, too, is if I am to compare the Microsoft report to the Google report, just for the sake of explaining why this was sharply down, whereas Google gapped up, it's interesting because Google actually did have some declines here, right? Like they had a year-over-year decline with their other bet segment, which is Waymo, et cetera. Microsoft, I didn't see any year-over-year declines other than that $3.1 billion OpenAI investment impact, one thing I think could be worth noting here is the Azure growth. So you guys were asking what was the Azure growth last year. I looked into it. Last year, for this quarter, so for Microsoft, that would be fiscal Q1 2025 because they're a couple quarters ahead, their Azure revenue growth was 33%. It was 40% this quarter, so it really hasn't grown all that much. And I think maybe the slowing of growth could potentially be a concern. That's my biggest takeaway here. That being said, they were expecting 37% Azure revenue growth for this quarter, and they did surpass that regardless. That's my thoughts on that.
All right, thank you. INTS, guys, I want to mention into the high of the day, 117. We have the high of the day right now. It's up 325%. We're in at 97s. Let's see if this can get to the quarter dollar. It's all gas, no brakes right now for INTS, and we're closing in on 1 billion shares traded on the day. I don't know how many times float rotation that is, Joey, but I'm willing to get it's just a lot. So keep your eye on INTS if you're a small cap gapper trader. Let's go on and talk about Meta. Oh, Joey, we're Prince. All right, here we go. Let's talk about this. Meta dropping on a $16 billion tax hit despite the earnings beat. So let's talk about the details here. They beat on both the top and bottom line, so nothing to worry about there. 725 EPS, 669 expected by the street on revenue, 51.25 billion. The street was looking for less than 49.5. Shout out to Corey, man. Thank you, Corey, for the $5 super chat. Just got to digress here. Sharif, my guy, appreciate the breakdown on Microsoft. Getting my face bashed, holding 545 call options for November 11th. Bought last week. Joey, any hopes? Can we just finish the Meta one, then have a look at have a look. Corey, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to it, Corey. Just let us finish this next topic, and your boy Joey Option is going to look at that for you. Now let's talk about that one-off tax charge that he's getting clipped with. We're talking about Zuck and Company. So apparently, the tax hit comes from President Trump's new One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which is going to cost Meta a little bit less than $16 billion. But silver lining is here that Meta said the One Big Beautiful Bill in the future will actually reduce the U.S. cash tax payments for 2025 and beyond. So we'll have to see how that reflects in their balance sheet. But for the moment, they are being made to pay for this $16 billion hit. Q3 revenue, as we mentioned, beating expectations. It also grew 26% year over year. Let's talk about the guidance. They're guiding nicely here. Q4 revenue, they're saying 56 to 59 billion. The midpoint of that range is above the estimates by the street. With total CapEx, wow, this has got to be the biggest CapEx I've seen so far from the three. 116 to $118 billion for full year 2025. That's up from the previous guide of 114. And now they're 26. Now here's where we could see something here. Their 26 CapEx forecast, they raised it, Joey, 70 to 72. Previously guided 66 to 72. But that's markedly lower, almost, not half, but definitely, substantially lower than they're going to spend this year. So something possibly to look out for. New products, of course, have been Meta's thing lately, especially physical devices, wearables on the face. Their Meta Ray-Ban display glasses selling for $800 are sold out, and the demo slots to try them are booked all the way through November. So people really liking these. Let's talk about their engagement. Their users are where they make money, of course. Their daily active users, 3.54 billion. Beating the 3.5 estimates by analysts. Advertising revenue as well, Joey, 50.08 ahead of the 48.5. And the headcount, they actually hired more people. They're up 88% in terms of the amount of people they hired. They have about 78,500 people now working for them all over the world.
Nice. Did Reality Labs start to turn a profit yet, or not? Just
that's never going to turn a profit. I took that off.
I'm being completely sarcastic. No, I mean, we talked about a little bit about this earlier. Hopefully, Mark doesn't kind of get into that metaverse craze where he's just spending a ridiculous amount of money and displeases investors. We know Llama's not the best LLM out there. Matter of fact, a lot of people call it hot garbage. But at the end of the day, I think considering, is it still 97%? That's something a little bit to be worried about. But other than that, I think Meta's going to be just fine. If you hold a monopoly essentially on the social media, I know there's other ones like Snapchat and everything, but it's all irrelevant because people use Instagram and Reels and all these things for a significant income stream, and I think it's going to maintain that. People are obsessed with the Instagram. The kids love it. I think Meta's going to be just fine.
All right, guys, INTS rocketing up into 1.25, 123 to be exact. I feel like we may get some resistance here, so we're going to take out some. INTS, big move up, 330%. Look for that 123 break. That's the high of the day. All right, Adara, what do you make of this $16 billion one-time tax charge? Do you think this hurts things, or is this just a one-off event?
I mean, I think we'll need more context because we didn't really get much. I think context will certainly help here with regards to MET and analyzing that going forward. I think other than that, this was certainly not a bad report. And again, it's interesting. I've seen the CapEx guidance, which again, they raised the lower end of the guide only by $4 billion, so it's not super significant on a relative basis. But either way, the fact that I'm seeing this kind of negatively interpreted is interesting because, again, we had Google raise theirs quite significantly, and we actually had people like that, right? So I don't know. I find the assessment of CapEx and when it is and isn't good to be really interesting, and to be honest, way too far advanced for my brain. I feel like the people who are more into AI probably have reasons for that. But yeah, I don't think this is a bad report. The daily active people only slightly above estimates. Maybe that could be a concern, but solid ad revenue, which we know is one of the biggest metrics that we care about for Meta. So now I'm curious to see, can Snap and Reddit make impressive ad revenue reports as well? Because we have Reddit tonight.
Get it, Adara.
Get it, Neil.
Go on to the next story. What do we got over here? U.S. rare earth stocks move up. Really? After China delays export controls. This is less really of a U.S. Minerals company moving up and more just of a story about what happened yesterday between President Xi and President Trump. So let's talk about what happened. The miners rallied Thursday, at least, initially. They're settling back a little bit now after China agreed to delay the new export controls as a part of the deal between the two leaders. The rare earth issue has been settled, quote, says President Trump after a, quote, amazing meeting with President Xi in South Korea. His words, not mine. China, of course, had announced lately, or recently, I should say, that rare earth export controls will be postponed for a year. Trump said the delay is expected to be routine. And yeah, what do you make of this, Joey? I mean, clearly that was one of the things that was holding back the AI trade.
Yep.
The restrictions by rare earths. We know it's 17 metals specifically that is needed for automotive, robotics, clean energy, defense, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So it was holding a lot. It's a weight on his shoulders, essentially, that can be lifted, which is something positive. I'm surprised we haven't seen a pop in the likes of MP, Sharif, considering from those May lows. At that peak, you're up 415%. So do names need to take a breath? Absolutely, considering you're down 34%, a little bit more off of those previous highs. Look for this support level to hold. But as for MP materials, we'll take a look at the options chain to see if the IV is still relatively high. And I'm going to suspect it is, because when you're in a downtrend and down 35% roughly from those specific levels, you're going to see that increase. But once all the fear is eliminated, 38% to be exact, once all the fear is eliminated and you get the implied volatility, it can be a good indicator that, hey, we're ready to start climbing once again. So we'll take a look at MP. At the money IV, around 94%. And I know we looked at it a while ago, and it was substantially higher on these down moves. So keep an eye on that for it to continuously cool down. Those support levels at 62 need to hold. If they do, you might get an additional rally, considering the problem it might be resolved here.
Well said. All right, Adara, what do you make of the tie-up yesterday between President Trump and President Xi, especially as it relates to these critical minerals?
I think it's interesting because when we initially had reports that maybe they were going to come to some kind of concession on the issue, that was as of Monday. These stocks dropped. Now we actually get the news and they pop. So it's an interesting case of sell the rumor, buy the news, I guess. And I just find that kind of fascinating from a stock performance perspective. But I want to see how this continues to settle out. Trump says it's settled. I want to see how settled it really is. Do we see more letters coming from China for the world? I don't know. I kind of tend to think it's not over until it's over. And I want some kind of, maybe like they sign a truce. Is there some kind of way to make it really clear that this is over and done with? Because I think until now, it might just be words.
Thank you. All right, let's go on to the next one over here. NVIDIA pulls back a little bit, down 2% today after a $5 trillion milestone, despite the headwinds. So what's going on over here? So a slight pullback, which kind of really reflects the disappointment by investors that the U.S.-China trade talks did not include any progress on resuming NVIDIA's chip sales to China. We know that before the restrictions came into place under former President Biden, NVIDIA accounted for about 20%, China accounted for about 20%, give or take, of NVIDIA's revenue. That since obviously declined substantially as a result of the new restrictions. The market had hoped for, Joey, that President Trump would announce a renewed chip export approval for some of these chips after meeting with President Xi, but Trump confirmed that NVIDIA's Blackwell chips were not discussed by the two leaders. NVIDIA, of course, we know remains banned from selling advanced AI processors to China amid national security restrictions, which resulted in about a $2 to $5 billion loss in potential revenue in this quarter. I guess we'll find out when they report earnings later on. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, China is actively discouraging their domestic customers, specifically their big tech companies, from using NVIDIA's chips. Namely, they're saying that they're compromised, security compromises, backdoors, cutoff switches, allegations were being made there. We know for a fact, after Reuters reported that shipments of advanced chips, specifically the Blackwell chips to Asia, were being tracked via tracking devices in the packaging and in the containers of these housing these GPUs. So we know that this thing's been kind of happening here, Joey. Despite the headwinds, of course, U.S. spending on AI infrastructure remains very strong, as we saw with the three hyperscalers reporting earnings.
I think they'll come to some sort of deal because, again, I think both countries are kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Because do you take NVIDIA's technology and then try to advance it and make it a little bit cheaper? Because that's what the Chinese are really good at. But aside from that, guys, there goes Bitcoin to the downside. A big-time sell-off here.
Aggressively.
It's selling really aggressively, and the volume's starting to pick up. So I think what's next in store for this here, let's pull it up, is unfortunately that's going to be that's just how it is. It's going to be south of 100. So, I mean, we're at 105. There's that key support level right there. You're going to run into those $100,000, $100K level, and you might even see some more downside. It's unfortunate that it's not complete October here in this asset class, but it is what it is, and then we just got to mitigate risk, especially if you're heavily involved into Bitcoin. So, yeah, taking it on the nose, guys. As for NVIDIA, I think they'll be just fine. I think at some point they will come to terms, Sharif, because it's really important. We know that a lot of the major corporations there already applied for the H20. And they got their licensing for that, but they're just not being delivered.
No, they don't want them to buy them.
Yeah.
All right, guys, INTS is rocketing up. 134 high of the day. We went the peak at 33s. We have another order at 38s. Good strength here for INTS as it closes in on, 400% on the day. Already over 1 billion shares traded. It was just a matter of time. So keep your eye on this one if you're small cap gapper inclined. All right, Adara, give us your take on this.
Yeah, I've been thinking, and I've been sitting here with my thoughts a bit. And I have a thought or an argument, if you will, with the NVIDIA-China situation. So I'm of the opinion, so if you think about it kind of to step back a bit, what is the reason that China, other than the security concerns, why would they want NVIDIA chips on a base level, take all the geopolitical issues out of it? Because they're the fastest. They can get them to things the fastest. But other than that, yeah, sure, they're the fastest, but they're maybe worried about they're getting like a slower version. We already know they're giving them not compromised, but certainly not the best version because they have these concerns here. We know there's export control issues. So what's the point of having the fastest technology if you're not even sure you're going to be able to keep it because of export controls? Now, on the other hand, you could just train your own internal AI companies, and they could be making the best chips that they could possibly make. Now, obviously, the chips being made in China, maybe they're not as fast as NVIDIA, maybe they're not as speedy, but I think that is a real risk. And with that in mind, I should mention, and I've said this many times, Jensen Huang himself has made it very clear that we should not be underestimating China. Now, why would he say that if he didn't think they had a real opportunity or potential of making high-quality chips at a certain point and fending for themselves? Because if they have their own chips to look back on, if they're dependent on that, they don't need to worry about these U.S. chip companies. So all of this is to say, I'm really not quite sure that China has any motivation or need or reason as of right now to really want these NVIDIA chips unless there's, I guess, all export controls off, but I don't really see that happening. I know, kind of a ramble, but long story short, I don't really see these export controls going away. I don't really see these companies, China encouraging their companies to use NVIDIA chips. And to be fair, Jensen himself doesn't either, because he even said at that conference that we had, the GTC conference on Tuesday, he was like, you know, hey, we don't even factor China into our revenue right now. So that I think is significant.
Thank you. All right, let's go on to the next topic. Eli Lilly jumping on a strong Q3 beat and raising their outlook. Let's talk about this. Earnings for Q3 came in at 72 share, way ahead of the 569 expected on revenue of 17.6 billion. Again, well ahead of the 16 billion expected. Quarterly revenue surged 54% year over year, of course, driven by the company's exposure to the GLP-1 drug portfolio. We're talking about the Zepbounds, we're talking about the Mounjaros, and U.S. sales alone. You think that this one would be bigger than global sales. 45% year over year, up to 11.3 billion, really supported by a 60% increase in prescription sales. Mounjaro delivered about 6.52 billion in revenue. That's up almost 110% year over year, and easily beating the $5.5 billion expectation by the street. Zepbound, which is the weight loss version of the drug, generated 3.57 billion, but grew at almost 2 times the rate of Mounjaro, which is for diabetes, at 184% year over year. That only slightly topped analyst expectations, though, so you could feel that the expectations were quite lofty. These two products accounted for over 57% of Lilly's sales, cementing their lead, of course, against Novo Nordisk in the GLP market. Their direct-to-consumer push, though, really, and their partnerships with Walmart are seen as a bright spot. We talked to you guys about this one a couple of days ago when they announced said partnership, but they're also doing that Lilly Direct, which is the direct-to-consumer push, which has the effect, of course, of removing the middleman. We're talking about the Hims and Hers and all the other sort of pseudo healthcare providers that you can get online. Now, let's talk about their sales. It was great that they reported well on the quarter. How about next quarter? How about next year? Well, look at this, Joey. Full year 2025 revenue, 63 to 63.5 billion. That's up from the prior guide of 60 to 62, with EPS for full year being $23 to $23.70. Again, well ahead of the 21.75 to 23 that they had previously guided. And the guidance does actually account for Trump tariffs, right? But it does exclude the new potential levies on imported pharmaceuticals. We already know that President Trump has announced there's going to be a 100% tariffs on imported pharmaceuticals, with some exceptions, of course, for those manufacturing locally. So that EPS guide that they gave there does not include those headwind tariffs. And they're also looking at expanding their market share, as well as throwing more money into research and development. So they continue to dominate the obesity and diabetes drug. They hold the majority of the share there, but they're not satisfied with that. They want that gold standard. They want an obesity pill, Joey. They know people don't really like poking themselves, pricking themselves, subcutaneous or not, and they're looking for that pill to come in sooner rather than later, which could also be a monster product.
I think so, right? Because we know about storage costs, right? You eliminate, think about how much in storage costs you eliminate, right? It has to be cold stored. But yeah, as for that, Sharif, so on Thursday, its experimental weight loss pill has met the most criteria for the FDA on that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to start getting rolled out. I'm pretty sure Dara has this on her Jimmy Carter picks as well, too. A nice move off of the lows of Dara. You can't complain about that. We're going to be waiting for that update, considering tomorrow is the 31st. So bright and early Monday, we're going to need that. But Eli Lilly, not too bad of a look. That pill, that oral pill, can take everything by storm.
Oh, boy.
Obviously, I just talked about the storage costs. That will be essentially eliminated. And what does that do for their consumer base? Does it widen it? Is it going to be significantly cheaper?
Good point.
What do you think? I think so. I think it's good for Eli Lilly.
All right, Adara, what do you make of these headlines? Looking to grow their moat, obviously, through the pill, but they're really taking on NVO, and they're taking on some of these middlemen by going into Lilly Direct.
Yeah, I have 3 words here. Go, Lilly, go. I think this is honestly a really solid report. And as you mentioned, given that those weight loss drugs are such a big portion of their revenue, it makes sense that we have that year-over-year growth. And honestly, because, as you mentioned, they're doing really well against their biggest competitor, Novo Nordisk, I don't even think they have to worry here about being too oversaturated in the weight loss game. They have other things working as well, but I think because they're doing so well in the weight loss space, especially when compared to their competitors, I think keep focusing on that. I think they're smart to do that. And as you mentioned, I think if they get into the oral weight loss drug game as well, once somebody figures that out or they acquire somebody who's working on that, then I think that is a really smart play for Eli Lilly. And as I've mentioned too, and I've talked about this a lot, but I do think that it's something important to remember. CEO David Ricks has a very good relationship with U.S. President Donald Trump. And because the company is American and they're always announcing more investments in America, that also puts them ahead of Novo Nordisk. Now, why is that? Because Novo Nordisk is a European company that, to my knowledge, is not doing a tons of American investments. And we know that as we get this most favored nations push, this push to have these tariffs on these medicines, it makes sense to back an American company here that is putting the effort in to do that American manufacturing. I think that Eli Lilly is doing all the right things here, and great report for Lilly.
All right, thank you. Let's go on to the next story. NVO counters Pfizer with an $8.5 billion bid for the obesity biotech company Metsera. So let's talk about this, because turning into a bidding war here. So Novo launched a rival bid of $8.5 billion, as I mentioned, for U.S. biotech Metsera, overtaking, yes, rival Pfizer's $7.3 billion offer. The deal includes $6 billion upfront and then additional milestone payments that are marked with different achievements, marking one of the boldest acquisitions for NVO to date. There's obviously renewed aggression from Novo, based upon the recent board shakeup. More on that in a second. So what's Pfizer doing over here? So Pfizer blasted the bid for their part as reckless, warning it would hurt competition in the fast-growing obesity drug market. Yeah, well, when you get outbid, you're going to be a little bit bitter. And let's see the takeover bid as a reflection of the rising pressure to dominate, yes, that $150 billion and growing, by the way, obesity treatment market expected by the early 30s. Both suitors structured offers with contingent value rights, CVRs, basically additional payouts that are tied to regulatory or commercial success milestones. We've been seeing this a lot more. You get more money if you reach the milestones. We've seen this with the deal with NVIDIA and CoreWeave, right? We've seen this with many different other tech structures. So what's this Metsera thing, Joey? So their portfolio here includes 2 key experimental drugs. One of them is called MET-0971I. It's a GLP-1 injectable. It targets the same class of patients as Wegovy and Zepbound. Then they have another one. It's called MET-233I, which mimics the hormone amylin, potentially offering additive weight loss benefits. So it looks like it's just more of a complement rather than a substitute. The market context here clearly is, as we talked about, very, very aggressive, targeting $150 billion by 2030. Joey, what do you make of this little tie-up over here? And do you think this hurts competition?
I mean, it can. Again, I don't know too much about that specific topic. All I know is that Novo Nordisk has been absolutely pooping the bed, Sharif, since last year, the middle of last year. I'm pretty sure, sorry, Adair, I got to point this out, but I think you might have this on your Jamie Carter picks as well, too. This is just going to be a destroyer of all wealth, down 66.43%. And I mean, what was it, layoffs that they were talking about not too long ago was going to actually impact the country itself, its GDP, which is absolutely insane. If you're that heavily reliant on one specific a company, that's not a good sign, especially when it's not performing how it has been.
All right, Adira, let's hear your take on NVO fighting here with Pfizer for Metsera.
Yeah, I think that Pfizer's reaction is very bitter, Betty, as you basically said there. They're just sad because Novo Nordisk outbid them. And let's be real here, Novo Nordisk, as much as I said, I do think it's kind of inferior to Lilly in certain ways and in certain respects, Novo Nordisk is certainly, I think, much more associated with the weight loss drug game than our friend Pfizer. So that is worth noting as well. And for what it's worth, Metsera came out this morning and said they prefer the bid from Novo. They don't like the bid from Pfizer. They're not happy with it either. So, like, Novo, why are you trying to give, Pfizer, why are you trying to give Metsera money and, like, forcing them to date you or have an acquisition? It doesn't want to be with you. It wants to be with Novo Nordisk, right? So I think for a lot of reasons. If any bid goes through, I think it's going to be the one from Novo. But MetSera, for what it's worth, this stock loves this story. It is still near day's highs, guys.
Adara, all right, let's go on to the next one over here. We got Starbucks reporting earnings after the bell yesterday. Oh boy, yeah. Let's see where they're at right now, bro. It's been a tough little time for them. Up 0.84, not bad. They were negative on the day, nice little recovery. Let's take a quick look at where they are on the daily. Let's look at the weekly actually over here. I'll bring it down before we do some analysis. Here's what we're looking at, Assassino. Let's show them there what we got. Yeah, we're definitely at the lower end of the range. Look, I'm going to buy this, Joey, if it drops into 75 to 70 bucks. Yeah, because it's a range, right? I'll buy it at 70 bucks.
Look at those lower highs.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but I don't need to take a breakout trade. I can take the range there. Look at this. Okay. 70, 70, and I'll take another attempt at 70 just for a swing, not long term. But let's talk about how they did. Solid Q4 revenue. But there are issues. So 9.57 billion in revenue, up 5.5% year over year, and easily beating the 9 1/3 estimated by the street. EPS came in at 52. That was a miss. The street wanted 56 pennies. And it's also down 35% over year. That's their profitability. They're blaming higher cost and store investment. CEO Brian Niccol, he continues to show early progress, especially in what he's talking about the customer metric experience. Let's talk about those experiences because their global same-store sales rose 1%, beating the 0.3% decline expected by analysts. But U.S. comps were flat. There is some silver lining because they turned positive in September and October, but for the quarter, generally flat. And it was driven here, well, the growth in September and October was driven by higher transaction volumes, not price hikes. So saying more foot traffics into the store. And their Green Apron service, which is a move by them to speed up the basically the wait time for people there. They said 80% of their stores achieved the 4-minute or less goal, which is the standard that they had placed there. Then, like as we look a little bit more, we're looking for same-store sales rose 2% in China, which is ahead of estimates, and a 9% jump in transaction revenue in China. However, the decline in average spendings really reflects international price cuts. And let's talk about their strategic restructuring. They closed 627 underperforming stores just in Q4, not the year. Q4 with CFO Kathy Smith says the closure should have a slightly positive impact on margins, and management did reiterate, Joey, their growth top line first, earnings follow approach. We're going to pause for a second and send it to Adara.
I have breaking news on not one, but two tickers or stories. I'm going to start with DraftKings, which is to the downside here. Seeing reports that Pennsylvania is considering raising its 34% sports betting tax. So again, it looks like Pennsylvania is considering increasing its sports betting tax. Not a good look here for DKNG. And the other story involves the story we literally just talked about on MetSera, Novo Nordisk, and Pfizer. Semaphore reporting that Pfizer is considering suing MetSera and Novo Nordisk over the latter company raising its bid, or I guess outbidding Pfizer. So again, we know that Novo Nordisk has outbid Pfizer for MetSera. Pfizer reportedly willing to sue over that situation. Back to you.
All right, Joey, what do you make of this report, brother?
I think it's interesting. Yeah, I think it's very interesting. For me, it's like, okay, who is Starbucks looking to kind of attract from a consumer standpoint? Is it the higher end or the lower end? We know the higher end typically does well. I think that it's really key to note that they close a significant amount of stores, in my opinion. Almost, I think it was 700 you said there, Sharif, yes, roughly. Sir. I think that's bad. You're going to get the layoffs as well, too. But in all seriousness, I live in Liberty Village. There's 3 Starbucks. Do we need 3 of them? No, I don't even go there at the end of the day, personally. So with Starbucks, I just think it's a tough name to own, considering if the lower end of the consumer is going to start to cool down, which it is. So for me, I'm going to say no on Starbucks, Sharif, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't like the stock, to be honest with you.
I don't blame you, Joey. That's ugly chart there. But
I don't like the stock.
The technicals, I like the 70, I like the 75. I mean, that's the only reason, really, brother.
No, in all seriousness, if it holds that level, by all means, you got yourself a winning trade. But if it cracks it, then the chances are that these lower highs 100%. Coming into play are there. So you just get out of it.
You just punch out.
But shout out to the CEO. He is slowly starting to turn things around, which is good.
All right, Adara, closing a whole bunch of stores, beating on the top line, but missing on the bottom line.
My local Starbucks is one of the stores that was closed during this, and I have to say, they're not handling these store closures very well. You just go in one day and there's a sign over the door, oh, the Starbucks is going to close in a week, but it doesn't say when the note was posted or when that week ends, so then you don't know when the Starbucks is closing. So Brian Nickel, on the almost 0% chance you're watching, please do a better job of announcing these store closures because it was not well handled. Now I want to talk here about the performance. You know, you mentioned, Joe, that Brian Nickel's turning things around. He's unfortunately not turning around the stock. It's actually down roughly 6% since he took over as CEO, starting that tenure on September 9th of 24. So it's been a little bit over a year. I mean, I've gone on rants on camera and off camera about my thoughts on Starbucks and Brian Nickel's job at Starbucks. I don't want to get too into it ad nauseum, but it's sad that we're kind of happy about flat comp sales growth in the U.S. At least it's good we're not seeing super big declines with regards to U.S. comp sales growth, but I think that is the biggest metric for Starbucks to improve. And I wonder if we close more stores, do we just see more people coming to other stores? Is that how you get the metric up? I don't know. I think that's going to be really interesting to see how they tackle that, because I do think, as much as we know Brian Nickel is sad that people aren't using Sharpies, I think the comp sales metric is one of the biggest concerns for Starbucks.
All right, thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Can't get right. $2 super chat. Thank you very much, brother. Any Joby NVIDIA news with the autonomous flight deal? Not today, but I see this over here. Say that again, Katina, man? Yeah. Remember when the GTC conference? Yeah. That's all I'm seeing right now. Just basically the same thing. Joby Aviation has partnered with NVIDIA as exclusive aviation launch partner for their IGX Thor platform built on Blackwell architecture. Nothing really new that I know about that one. We'll have to see many days and weeks, I think, before we see something materialize there. We'll have to keep an eye out on that. Let's talk, though, about Carvana beating earnings but facing short selling pressure. So Vana, which was, you know, I don't want to say a meme stock, but it certainly moves similar to it. They reported adjusted EPS of $1.50, up 134% year over year, beating the 110 expected by the street. Revenue did rise 55%, up to $5 2/3 billion. Now the second straight quarter for accelerating growth. Despite the beat, though, shares did drop, and they are now SSR and down 12.6%. The sell-off followed a sharp rally that had kind of pushed CVNA well above the 50 moving average, but it does snap a 4-session win streak. Let's talk about some of their growth outlooks. Their net income, they're profitable. Came in at $263 million. That was below analyst estimates of $309 million. Unit sales, their cars that they sell, surged 44% over a year. They sold about 156,000 cars, which is an all-time high for the company. They guided quite well. They expect over 150,000 vehicles to be sold, which will bring them about $2 to $2.2 billion in adjusted EBITDA, which is near the upper end of the prior guidance. They are gaining some success here, scaling their operations and expanding their profit margins, though that does remain, tentative, and they continue to watch that closely. Short seller, though, Jim Chanos, famed short seller, renewed his bearish stance on Vana. He's calling it a finance company, not an auto seller. Tell us how you really feel there, brother. He believes Carvana's credit exposure and subprime lending practices could cause issues if the economy weakens. Now, we did see banks increase the amount of loan loss provisions they were holding onto their books. That money, when you put it on in your that side of your balance sheet for loan loss provisions, that offsets your profitability, so it lowers your EPS, and so that obviously affects your stock price. So think about the strategy there by their accountants. He also cited parallels with the collapse of auto lender Tricolor Holdings, emphasizing that Vana's resilience in a high-risk environment raises red flags, though despite all that, Joey, up 74%. Year to date.
The stock is crazy. I just wanted to pull up an image. I think this is so cool. I drove by one of these one time in the States, and I think it's just so cool, man. This is like a vehicle vending machine at the end of the day. I think it'd be wicked if we had some of them. So there it is. But I mean, guys, let's talk about this stock here a little bit. It's insane to think that at the start of my tenure, I was trading this thing in 2022, I think. This thing was $12. And it's up substantially. Oh. Now, I heard there were some iffy accounting practices going on behind the scenes, but from those levels, you're up 3,984%. which is substantial. And I would not suspect this for a used car dealership, Sharif.
All right, just before we go to Dara, guys, INTS continues to go. There's the high of the day at 48. We're waiting at 48. We added on the continuation here. I was talking to Joey about this. I was like, I should be adding here. We added at 33, so that's changed our cost basis. We had initially got in at around 97. There it goes into the high of the day. It's 152 area high now, up 450%, and it's got 1.11 billion shares traded on the day. I was looking for a $0.25 rejection. Now I'm going to be looking for the $0.50 rejection here. INTS continuing to go here. All right, Adara, what do you make of this report by Vana? Some good, some bad. Jim Chano saying buying it, though.
Yeah, I mean, even last week, he already said he was going to be getting more short, or that he's stayed short. So he's been like anti-Carvana for a while, not necessarily new info. So again, not super surprising that he feels that way, right? But yeah, I think the unit sales being up 44% is really solid. That all-time high is a great look. But I do want to mention here, as Joe said, this stock price has been super rocky. This is a fun little infographic I made a while ago on X at TTV Research. Blue line is the stock price, and then the yellow bars are the revenue. And as you can see, this stock has had a very, very rocky road. Obviously, now in 2025, we've made new all-time highs, or either way, we're well above the price where we closed at in 2024. So Carvana's stock generally seems to weather things pretty well, regardless of what the company itself is doing. We're almost a year. It's crazy. It's almost been a year since that short report that we had from Hindenburg Research right before they shuttered in January 25. So yeah, I think with Carvana, the shorts are always going to be a bit of a concern. But again, nothing new in that regard. I don't think there's too much to worry about here.
All right, thank you, Adara. We just got a false halt right now here on INTS. Here comes the halt again, 158 parameter halt. It has to be this way for 10 seconds. Let's see if we get the gray out. We already got one false halt here. This one's a little bit longer. I think we're going to get the gray out on this one. And boom. Come on. I was a little bit off there, but boom. What a move up for INTS, man. 491%. halted at 158. I believe this is the first halt of the day. So I don't remember the dude in the chat who told me about this one, but yo, man, take a bow or a stand or whatever you're going to do there in the chat. Show yourself, because you need to be credited for this. Fantastic call out by you, especially in that bull flag that was forming south of $1. Good on you, and thank you for pointing it out to me. I hope Bovin printed on that. I hope Casey printed on that. I know a bunch of other people are throwing this ticker in the chat, so I know it's not just them who's printing. Shout out to you guys. Hope you guys print out multiple storms. Let's go on and talk about Apple. Going to report after the bell today. Oh, no. Are the good times over, Joey?
No,
All right,
just
let's
getting
talk
started.
about this report, man. Katina Mensah is not even close. I love that. So Apple gears up for Q4 earnings with iPhone 17 momentum. Let's talk about it. So they're going to report Q4 earnings after the bell, likely at 4:30. And it's going to mark the first look that the street has had at iPhone 17 demand after the company hit $4 trillion in market cap. Analysts here, Joey, they're expecting a $1.77 EPS on revenue of $102.1 billion, which would be up substantially from last year. They printed $164 EPS on revenue of $94.9 billion. iPhone revenue is projected to be about a little bit less than $50 billion, 40.93, which should be, if it comes in line, a 6.7% year-over-year increase. With their services revenue, another high-margin product, 80-something% gross margins, rising, or should rise if it meets expectations, 12%, up to now $28.2 billion, Joey. I remember this one, it was like mid-teens. iPad revenue, and they have a couple of new iPads out. Let's see if that moves the needle. Expected to come in at $7 billion. Macs, they have new Macs as well, $8.6 billion. Expected to remain steady. Wearables, though, Joey, could dip down 4.5% and only print $8.6 billion. According to Counterpoint Research, iPhone 17 sales rose 14% year over year in the U.S. and China during the first 10 days of availability. Don't have data points for after that. The lineup introduces major updates. We know design revamps for the Pro and Pro Max, as well as a new iPhone Air. Initial numbers suggested a strong early cycle upgrade trend, but I personally have seen some analysts who have said that it's slowing down. Whether or not that's accurate, we'll have to wait and see. We will find out at 4:30. China revenue, another very big number for them, Joey, expected to grow 9% and take home $16.4 billion, a notable rebound after recent weakness. Broader strength in the US and Europe is also supporting Q1 holiday quarter, which should be interesting to see how they guide, because we know that that is going to be their biggest and most income generating quarter.
The iPhone.
Christmas,
Yeah,
Christmas,
absolutely, absolutely. Guys, we talk a lot about the super cycle numbers, percentage based in iPhone sales growth. I think we're going to beat that probably, considering Sharif's like, man, you got to wait months for this phone. I'm curious to how the iPhone Air is going to do, the slimmer version as well, too, how those sales will affect, even if they can affect EPS or anything along those lines. But I think a lot of this pump in this stock came to the fact that, yeah, the judge favoring Google, so essentially they're going to be continuing to receive, continuously receiving payments from Google, and that's going to go right to the service revenue. I think that's going to continue to grow as well too, considering ChatGPT's on the phone, who's going to be the primary search engine, et cetera, et cetera. Even though they haven't spent nearly as much money as other individuals, I think they're going to be one of the primary beneficiaries. Why? Because how many people own iPhones? There's a substantial amount. I think Apple's a long-term buy. I'm curious to what its PE is. I wouldn't be surprised if it's still relatively cheap.
You want me to find out?
Yeah, please. That'd be.
Right now. I'll look right now, Katina, man.
I mean,
right now, Joey, it's 37.2.
Okay, so
on the
I
new
mean,
price.
yeah, they're saying it's a little expensive, but I think at the end of the day, Apple's going to be just fine, considering they're going to be raking in cash from a lot of these AI firms, startups.
So I just want to say, my personal experience with the Pro Max has been the following. The battery life is insane.
It's better.
The camera is insane. It's dark room abilities as well. Like, dude, I was like in the office and I shut off all the lights and I took a picture. I couldn't see anything, and I was in there for 5 minutes, Joey, so my eyes could adjust. It saw. It could see when there is nothing to see. When there's no light to see.
No,
so
it's
I think
looking
it's pretty
good.
cool.
I mean, the battery is like, okay, yeah, finally you're starting to catch up, right?
Yeah.
Considering you have other phones that, I think with an Android, you got to charge that thing once every other day or something along those lines. And some of the Google phones I heard.
Joey, I got to interrupt. What a move up here for INTS. We're going to take some out there as well. 116, 174 area high, guys. Oh, we're done our shares there. Okay, so we're done. We're done this trade. INTS, guys, continuing to go. I hope you guys print up storms on this. We're about to take out 500% right now, but it's going to hold down. That's an ugly topping tail candle now, 174 high. It's going to hold down at 150. I need a couple of more seconds like this. 150 halt coming up here. Let's see if we get the gray out. We're going to get it. There it is. So now we're seeing a top here of 140, 141. Let's see what we get on this one. INTS turning into a Lambo trade, says by Grace. Hope you printed up multiple storms. Shout out to Mike PD Ryder as well. All right, Adara, give us your take on the Apple earnings today after the bell.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm kind of wait and see on Apple. I don't have any really strong opinions on this, truthfully. This infographic shows their performance last quarter, specifically their segment performance. So iPad revenue and the other products revenue were the only areas where they missed. I suspect iPads are probably still going to be an issue. The one thing I do want to say, though, is I wonder to what extent the iPhone 17 demand will actually show up, because this is for, if I am correct, which I believe this is the case, this is going to be like the quarter that ended at the end of September. So we only had like, what, a couple of weeks? Maybe if iPhone 17 data, it'll be interesting to see to what extent that actually enters the report. But I think it also, as much as I think this is a good, at least short-term tailwind for the company, I also worry a little bit if a lot of our excitement for the company is only coming from one specific iPhone launch, to the point where I was even seeing some people saying, oh, we don't have to worry about AI anymore because now Apple has the iPhone 17. I think that's a bit much. And I think unless it actually shows itself to be the super cycle, which even T-Mobile, which of course they would know they phone plans, whatever. The T-Mobile CEO even said, I mean, it's a good cycle, but it's not a super cycle. So that I think is significant too.
All right, yeah, thank you for that. Yannick, NB, let's have a look at NB. What's going on with that one? Get it, Mark. Mark's killing that thing. Oh, nice breakout. Okay, not a bad look here. What's NB up on the day? 6 2/3. Keep an eye out on this one. A little bit less than $1 billion market cap. Just printed the high of the day at 816. Good call out there, brother. We'll keep an eye out on that one. Let's talk about the other earnings name expected after the bell today. You might have heard of this one, Joey. AMZN, the AI battle ahead of the Q3 report, says the headline here. So what are we expecting with respect to Amazon? The street is looking for $1.58 earnings per share. And look at that revenue number, because their e-commerce business is margins are razor thin. That's why the headline number is so big. So $1.58, $1.58 EPS on revenue of $177.8 billion. That would be up, if it comes in line, would be up from $1.43 on revenue of basically $159 billion last year, and would account for a 12% year-over-year increase on the quarter. Now let's cut the crap and talk about AWS, their actual high-margin business, which e-commerce, of course, is not. They're expected to deliver $32.4 billion in revenue. That would be a healthy increase of 18% year over year. But as we just saw with Google Cloud, 35%. As we just saw with Azure, 40%. 18% is not going to cut it, AWS, but that is what analysts are looking for, and they're looking for about $27.5 billion, maintaining steady but slower growth compared to peers. Sorry, $32.4 billion is what they're expecting. That would be up from $27.5 billion. Got that one wrong, excuse me. Now let's talk about their core e-commerce segment, expected to reach $67 billion in revenue. That would be a 9% increase year over year on the quarter. And advertising revenue, Joey, this is a big margin product here and keeps growing faster than their other segments. Advertising revenue expected to come in at $17.3 billion, and that would be a 21% jump year over year on the quarter. Let's talk about the AI trade here. So the market sentiment does remain cautious on AWS's AI positioning relative to Microsoft and Google's ecosystems. Amazon relies on Anthropic for its flagship AI partnership, but Google also shares that relationship, which dilutes, of course, AWS's exclusivity. The job cuts. I have a lot to say about this, and I just want to point out this is not my original thinking. This is Nate. Okay, and I've given you guys Nate before. I'll bring up his TikTok account now. He is very much ensconced in the AI trade. He's a Silicon Valley dude, and he had great insights into Amazon's 30,000 corporate job, 30,000 jobs that were cut from their corporate segment. Now, here's the deal. We talked about this a couple of days ago, and our position was it was AI related because, you know, AI is going to basically make everything so much more productive, more efficient. You don't need to have as many people. Apparently, that's not what happened here. It's the actual inability of Amazon to get its hands on more compute and thereby grow AWS that actually had them make the cuts. How does that happen? So if your margins are not expanding and your top line number is not expanding enough, the street will make you pay because you're going to miss their expectations. So how do you offset that? Well, you can offset it through a fixed cost. Well, when you run a business, you know what your fixed costs are. One of them, of course, is your wages, the employment. That is a fixed cost. So you can adjust the top line, or not the top line number, but your earnings per share by adjusting your fixed costs. And that's what they did here, believe it or not. They're not actually cutting these jobs because they don't need them. They just need to maintain profitability. And Nate had a fantastic take on this. Again, not my original thinking here, but he had some really deep insights. Joey, what do you make of this whole AMZN after the bell take?
I think it's going to be really important. You want to see how the e-commerce is doing. We want to see if those AWS cloud growth comes in line. I think that's going to be really important. But I think it's also in the same scenario that we talked about with Google and the antitrust. Once we get some more clarity with China, and we're slowly starting to see that, I think that this can lift a weight off of Amazon's shoulders. We've seen Apple start to climb high, put in a new all-time high. The only two mega names that haven't is Tesla and Amazon. Right, so I think Amazon is posed and primed to break that previous level of $242. We'll call it $243 or whatever and change. I like it. After the bell, if it comes in double beat and the growth comes in better than expected, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little gap up in it.
And Joey, it is now the worst performing Mag 7 name on the year, up 2.68% year to date. Apple had been previously the worst performing one. Can you believe it, Katina, man? Yeah. Year to date, my man, 2.7%. Apple 8.87. After that, who's second? Tesla. 10.1%, and then we got Meta because of the shellacking they got 15 1/3. Microsoft's up 25, and then Google and NVIDIA are leading the way there. Google up 50%, NVIDIA 52%.
That's crazy.
So yeah, how things change. All right, Adara, give us your take on the Amazon earnings after the bell.
Much like Apple, especially with the Mag 7 names, I don't want to do too much speculation, but we'll look at the past, right? I think, as you guys mentioned, Amazon Web Services, I know you guys said this a couple times, that's going to be a little bit of a concern because they barely beat Amazon Web Services revenue last quarter, coming in at $30.87 billion, just above estimates of $30.8 billion. Like, they beat by $0.07 billion, which is not very much, especially for a sector that we're really expecting to buoy it. Do you know what I mean? And I think also we could have, with regards to AWS, the negative sentiment from that outage. I mean, obviously, as we saw, the stock didn't get hit too much, but if that sentiment kind of persists, that could become a bit of an issue for AWS. The operating income guide was also pretty rough, but I've noticed with Amazon, they tend to have the worst guidance for whatever reason in Q2, so the most recent quarter. If you guys recall, Q2 2024 for Amazon was perhaps best known for them saying that they thought that the Olympics could maybe hurt the company's revenue for the next quarter. Like, their Q2 guidance has always been a little odd. So with that in mind, maybe they completely blow this operating income guide out of the water. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, I think with AMZN, much like I said with Apple, all I'm going to do here is look at past data and try to make some, not assumptions, but forecasts from that. I don't want to make too much speculation here.
All right, thank you very much for that. All right, I'm not seeing anything happen with Google, Ichiro. It's just, just regular price action. It's selling off, but yeah, it's down from the highs, 2.9%. Still green on the day. All right, Joey, it's 2 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock, yep.
You're going to be with your boy Obi tomorrow. I'm going to be in the morning, but I'm taking in the afternoon off, so Ob is going to be in. Hope you guys have a great time, and send him off.
All right, man. No, everyone have a fantastic day. We got some big earnings after the bell. Stay tuned.